So I thought today I would just put together this board that I've been wanting to make. And I think this is just a good thing to do every year. To just have a big old list of here's the things I played, or most of them anyway. Most of the major ones. And we'll give them like a tier ranking. We chat about them. You could help me remember things that I forgot about. And, you know, we'll have like some kind of jumping off point to compare things. So I'm just using that traditional template that everyone uses for the tier list. And I only have like 20 things on it right now. I haven't actually sorted them yet, which is part of the fun, is coming up with where they go. Probably most of the big things I haven't even put on here yet, so we'll go through. I was just kind of looking down my Steam chart list. Is this music very loud? Seems like it might be kind of loud, actually. Yeah, November is jam-packed, I know, but this is just to get us ahead of it all, and then I can go add more things into it later. And it's not like it is designed for me to put one thing above another in a way that makes it so nothing has to shift. Like, it's just putting them at levels, but they're not butting each other out necessarily. I did not play Astral Chain, no. I watched some people play it and it looked kind of boring, to be honest. It looked like all the anime, but not as much of the fun. Is it a 9? Wow, that's like the strongest opinion I've seen on it so far. I'm just going to turn the music down a little bit for my own sake. That might have been a lot. Is it still audible? That's a good level? Yeah, DMC 5 was this year. It does feel like ages ago, though, but it was like the beginning of the year. So let's see, how am I going to do this? I guess I'll just drag my OBS window over here and full screen it. But then I also want to be able to see my Steam chart. Oh, I keep calling it a chart. Oh, I can't resize it? Oh, I guess it has a minimum width when it's in this mode. Okay. Oh. Alright, that should do. So few games. Yeah, I know I haven't put much on it yet. I was going to sort of put on the ones that I forgot about as we go. And it's pretty simple, basically. Just paste another copy of Blasphemous down here and then just edit the text to be something else. There's an online tool for this? Yeah, I know there is. I looked at it, and if I did that, I'd have to use pictures. So I'm just doing it directly in OBS. Did I put no whites on? Yeah, I did. Oh, see, here's the problem now. I've started out of order. I don't think I put Code Vein on there yet. I was going down in chronological order, and now I've started back at the top again. So I have to just kind of like ad-lib it and put on things in any order. Yeah, this is only for things I've played. This is not the whole world. Although if I could rate games that I haven't played, that would be a very useful talent, I think, that I could probably market. Somehow. I don't know quite how. You know, let's put Warsaw in there, because that was something I just played the other day, and it was pretty damn good. It's also shorter, so you can put it there. So feel free to shout out games that you think I've played and that I didn't put on here yet. Oh yeah, Control obviously has to be on there. Corntle. Corntle. Now, these aren't sorted. This is just the holding tank on the side here. We're going to put them in the rows later. Yeah, I didn't put Borderlands on yet. Pretty sure I didn't. Well, if we end up with 2 of something, I guess I'll find it when I sort them. Let's see. Smash Brothers came out this year. Right? That was like March or something, I think. Late last year? Oh, was it? Oh, okay. Was Puss this year? I just wanted to categorize my thoughts. This is not a full year breakdown. This is just where I'm at right now, and then I can go and compare things to it later. Oh, Puss is last year. Okay. Okay, well, I know Super Mario Maker was this year. Hey, Texas. I did play Katana Zero. Yeah, that can go on there. Just throw out whatever ideas you want. If it's something I didn't play, then I guess I'll just disregard. Bloodstain's on there. Somewhere. Yeah, there it is, under Code Vein. I did not try Outer Wilds yet, but it's probably quite good. Let's put Atomic Chef on there, because that's done, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a finished game. It'd be nice to have a reference point, too, for people that didn't maybe watch all of the stuff that I've covered. And then you can say, oh, well, this was very high on the list, so maybe I should go look for this. I probably shouldn't put Morels on there, because that's not even released yet. Hey, thank you very much, New Dust, for subscribing for your 9th month. Oh, sorry, I don't have the notifiers on at the moment, but I see you subscribe. Thank you. And Frozen Yak Man, thank you for the 35 months. I'm trying a new, instead of my usual widget, I'm just running it through the new Twitch dashboard beta, which is actually fairly well organized, I have to say. I'm kind of impressed. So it may save me running another thing in the background, and that's always valued. Oh my goodness. Death Wears Bunny Slippers, thank you very much for the 27 months. As time, it really flies by, I guess. And then Sukrin with the 5 community gift subs. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Should we put I Love You, Colonel Sanders? Oh, Children of Morta should go on there. That's a real good game. Oh my goodness, now Archon Zach did it too. Thank you, Archon Zach, for gifting out 5 community gift subs. Thank you. I don't know that the pinball game came out this year, did it? Let's put Overpass on there. That's a good game. The Senran Kagura Peach Ball game is the one. Oh yeah, Metro Exodus, that's on there. Well, will be on there in a second. I'm just going down my list now. Oh, I still haven't played Remnant from the Ashes. I definitely need to give that a try soon. Now Dregory did it? Holy crap, Dregory, thank you very much for also giving out 5 community gift subs. That's Sukrin, Archon, and Dregory all just did that. Thank you. I also need to play Anodyne 2, because I haven't played that either. I liked Vane quite a bit. I don't know if that game really got much attention. I was told on, I think it was on Twitter, developers said it did not sell well, unfortunately. Which is such a shame, because it was such a freaking pretty game. Vane was the one where you play as the Raven. And you fly over the desert a lot. And then you find these, like, secret caverns, and then you turn into a child and solve puzzles. Let's see, cooking sim. Possibly contentious. Oh, was Marble It Up this year? I thought maybe that was last year. But yeah, that should definitely be on there if it is. I did check out Ace Combat 7. It was actually quite good. Thanks, UDev. Marbles last year? That's what I thought. Honorable mention for last year, though. I got Mortal Kombat. I didn't get Gonto Roboto, and I still haven't played Draugen, which I feel awful because I went out of my way to try and get a code for that, and the publisher was like a little hesitant, and then I got a code anyway, and then I freaking didn't cover it because I'm an idiot. Gonto Roboto. No, I never did beat it, actually. I got close, I think, or like 3/4 the way through it. What did I just... Oh, Link's Awakening. Let's just call it Link's Awakening, you know. Link's Awakening 2019. Nah, just Link's Awakening. You know which one it is. What other Switch games am I forgetting about? I got House Flipper. I got Sekito. Got Mario Maker. Did Reventure come out officially this year? Got Islander. Did I put Nova Drift? That game was quite good, actually. Should be mentioned again. I don't think I did put it on there. Paste. Puss was last year. Celeste was last year. I'm just gonna say I didn't really play Slay the Spire to any amount that I would qualify as being worth my opinion. So I'm gonna leave that off. Cube World. No, I actually didn't play Cadence of Hyrule. Unfortunately, I still need to. I really liked Reventure, actually. aka Lonk's Adventure, for those that forgot what it was. Let's see, what else? Baba Is You, I put on there. Runner 3 was this year. That was like early in the year, I think. Also quite positive. Jump King. Oh, Eastshade, that was also this year. And Away. Does anybody here remember which one Away is? I do, but I'm just saying, like, that game had a very hard to remember title. Away. Journey to the Unexpected. Oh, that gets its own line. Yep, that was the... Yeah, that was the, anime-ish kind of game. It was like a puzzle RPG shooter. It's very odd. I didn't play Greedfall. They talk about Runner 3 and Roundtable? We do? I did play My Time at Porsche, yeah. Could put that on there. Aren't there other major Switch releases? Like first-party Nintendo games? I never played Short Hike. Didn't play Ni no Kuni. Oh, PS4 games. Days Gone. That came out this year, I'm pretty sure. I almost can't tell. Days Gone. Wait, is it Days apostrophe S? Or is it D-A-Y-S? Days no apostrophe. Far Cry New Dawn. I played 5, I didn't play New Dawn. I haven't played What the Golf yet. I haven't played Astral Chain yet. Islanders is on there. Still haven't played Dragon Quest Builders. Astroneer came out this year. That should definitely be on there. Haven't played Fire Emblem. Probably won't. It's not really my thing. Oh yeah, I said Eastshade, right? That was this year as well. Early in the year. The ship rhythm game on a track you liked. Why isn't that ringing a bell for me? Demon's Tilt came out this year. Ship game on a track. Oh, it came out in 2017? Okay. It's hard to keep them all straight. I'm pretty sure Mummy Demastered was like over a year, if not more than that, ago. But yeah, probably the ones I played in 2018, we can eliminate those from contention. Actually, Ancestors can be on there. That was kind of interesting. Didn't play Oxygen Not Included still. Oh yeah, Skyrim can be on every year. Didn't play Yoshi's Crafted World. Oh, I remember now which one Arrow was. Yeah. I had to see the graphic for it, and then it kicked in. Pathway actually can be on there. Another one that, like, the title doesn't do it justice. It's kind of generic sounding. That was the FTL-style Indiana Jones adventure kind of game. Didn't really play Super Animal Royale enough to have an opinion on it. I think I played it like once or twice. don't know if Snaky Bus should be on there. Oh, it's got a weirdly long thumbnail on Steam. That's kind of fitting since it's a Snaky Bus. Thanks very much, Zafino, for the 25 months. Welcome back again. Alright, just probably a couple more here. I still haven't played my friend Pedro. And I'm not trying to put unfinished stuff on here yet. I could put Mirador on there, that was alright. Unless I have already. Why did I leave these big holes over here? Atomic Chef does not ring any bells. I just played it recently. It's like Big Pharma with food. It's quite good. Monster Sanctuary I really liked, but it's not done yet. I think Undermine might not be done as well. Got Surge 2. Flotsam's not done yet. I don't think I put that on there. Yeah, probably shouldn't have. Train Valley 2. You remembered. Yeah, we could put the Train Valley on there. Lynn really liked that. I thought it was alright. She was like super into it because she loves trains. I think that's most of them. Were there other PS4 games I'm forgetting? Oh yeah, Wilmot's Warehouse can go on there, sure. It's a fun little game. I did get Control on there somewhere. Once we've sorted them, it'll be easier to see what's where. Yeah, Resident Evil 2's on there. Link's Awakening's on there. I didn't play Overland. I think I probably should have, though, because it looked kind of cool. Surge is on there. Oh, thanks very much, Hylian726, for the 500-bit cheer. I have heard of and not played Anodyne 2. I played the original. You think you'll ever go back to Hypnospace? I'm not sure if I will, actually. I think it's probably... I think I've had enough of it, to be honest. Yeah, we're trying to avoid early access stuff for the most part. Streets of Rogue can go on there, though. If that came up this year. Although I only have played non-final versions of it, so I'm not sure if that's right. I have 2 Blasphemous. No, it's just what I copy-pasted. I was just changing the text of it. Okay, we can start sorting them, I guess. Pretty sure Judgment was last year. Oh, wait a minute. I think I confused Mirador with the Sojourn. Because it was on Epic Game Launcher, and I think I just forgot. Shit, there were too many, like, similar puzzle games that came out, and I forgot which one is which. I didn't play River City Girls, no. There's so many games I didn't play, it's crazy. Oh yeah, Mirador was the boss fighting game. Right, that's the one. Sojourn can go on there, though. Mirador is a really nice logo. Sojourn. I think that's how you spell it. Yeah, there's probably too many games on here now. Didn't play Crash Team Racing. Still haven't played Gears 5, but I do have it. Has there ever been a fantasy realm called Celador? There's been Celador. Yep, Baba's there. Void Bastards is on. I think that's good. That's probably the majority of things. And there's still room for other things to show up and move up and down the list here. Oh, I should put Generation Zero on there. That happened this year. I wonder how that game sold. Can't imagine it sold amazingly. Are you still playing Blizzard games? To be honest, I haven't booted up Overwatch since that happened. I think they said they might make an announcement of some kind, so I'm watching that. It's really shitty what they did, and I hope that they try to make amends for it. I'm not expecting that they will, but I hope they do. They released an apology towards China? What? What? Are you serious? I hadn't seen that. Was Gris this year? No, I don't think it was. I think it was last year. I have it here last played 12/28/2018, so maybe it was late December. I did hear that I was wrong, that they were like stopping people from deleting their accounts. And it's not that I was like actively proclaiming that that was a thing, but I saw someone had said that happened to them and I thought that was legit. But apparently it wasn't. Didn't check out Greedfall, nor did I check out Wolfenstein. I definitely meant to check out Wolfenstein, but I wanted someone else to play it with and didn't find anybody. But yeah, if you see anything I missed that's notable that I haven't played, feel free to mention it. I should probably like look through my VODs and see if there's anything that jumps out too, but yeah, it's fine. Is Persona not on here? Persona came out like 2 years ago. Or at least a year ago. Alright, let's just start moving stuff around then. So Astroneer. Astroneer is a game I really like, but has a lot of issues. It can be a little bit janky at times, but its ambition is certainly on the high side. I'm going to tentatively put it in the B category. Above average. B for bold. Boldly go where no other Astroneer has gone before. Eastshade. This is the game where you're a painter that goes to this crazy animal land. Very ambitious, very pretty game, very interestingly strange premise, to be honest. Excuse me. I was less into it than I thought I'd be. It ended up being a bit more fetch questy, and like the painting element of it ended up taking more of a backseat than I expected it to. So despite a lot of good ideas, I don't think it was like a leader of the pack for me. It's like a middle of the road kind of situation. Not bad. Probably worth playing, but only if you're really into that scenario. This isn't best of 2019. This is just me ranking the stuff that I've played from this year that I just can get it together. I'm just gonna have like a board of these every year, and then I can update it whenever I play something notable. So I can still add more to this once we're done. I'm just gonna leave this as a scene, and I can come back to it later. "2019 Best Game Tier List." It's what comes out on top. You'll still learn what my best games are so far. I'll rename it if it bothers you. Okay, I'll call it 2019 so far. Game ranking tier list. I didn't mean to clickbait anyone, I apologize. I find my new title to be more descriptive. Yeah, we could put art school on there, sure. All new games will be titled Blasphemous until I change them. Oh yeah, and Jump King, let's put that. Duplicate. How do they spell it again? Arts, S-Q-O-O-L, I think. I also didn't play Hades yet. I'm still meaning to, though. It's like floating very near the top of my I want to play this right now list. But then I keep playing Borderlands and Torchlight 2 again. I'm in like a really looty mood lately. I want to see cool drops showing up in my world. And yeah, it's also still early access. Actually, so is Risk of Rain. So I kind of broke my own rule there. Yep, no whites is there. Okay, so Jump King. Jump King is fun. It's like a getting over it situation, but with a dude that jumps. Has nice sprite graphics. I think the music was alright if I remember. I'm thinking this is also like a C category. It's not a must play right now type of thing, but I have no problems recommending it. Art School had great ambience, but if I remember, the actual premise of the game ended up being basically just drawing in paint with vague art prompts. I think they could have done a lot more with the idea, to be honest. So although I did enjoy it a lot, I don't think it was a top-tier game. We should make sure, yeah, was it actually this year for sure? I think it might have been January? Oh, it was February, okay. Thank you. You can fact check me faster than I can open Steam. Ancestors. This is the game where you play as a ape and you use your abilities to run around the world and evolve, which is kind of the same as leveling up, and then you pass your genetic traits on to the next in line. I actually like this, I think, more than I might have let on, because at first I thought it was really going to be super complicated or frustrating, and it rewards sort of free-form exploration, which I think is a very positive thing. So this is actually going to be in the B category for me. Much better than I expected it to be honest. My Time at Portia, or Portia. So this is a kind of a Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon style exploration farmy kind of game on an island. It harkened back to another game that I'd played, that I'm now blanking on the title of, but was like just kind of jankier than that one was. To be honest, I kind of didn't really like My Time at Portia all that much. It had way too much like NPC nonsense to it that just wasn't really contributing to the game. I didn't feel like the characters in it had much character to them. Yeah, Ape Out was this year, but I never played that one. Thank you, Squatting Walrus, for the 33 months. Yeah, I just really didn't like Portia that much. I think I'm putting it in the E category. E. I don't think it was a bad game, but this is really just a ranking of, like, what do I like? Days Gone. This is the zombie game that came out on PS4 this year, the exclusive one, where you play as a rough and tumble motorcycle man with his best bro, who is also a rough and tumble motorcycle man, and you live in a motorcycle world. The big reveal of it was supposed to be the massive hordes of zombies that will swarm you, but I never really encountered one. I did, like, as I turned the game off after 8 hours. I don't think this is a bad game either, but it definitely didn't hit me as hard as I was hoping it would. It also had some severe frame rate problems, and I don't know, it just kind of suffered a little bit from lack of imagination and some strange voiceover work, if I remember. I'm putting the D for Days Gone. Days Gone is a D. Also, I should put World War Z, because that came out this year as well. And actually, I like that one a bit more. World War Z. Is it weird that I've started saying Z now? But yeah, I don't think any of the games on this list are legitimately bad. Yeah, I don't think any of them are. But then they're varying within my scale, you know? So World War Z, that was the kind of Left 4 Dead 4-player co-op zombie-thon. My biggest complaint was that it just kind of didn't have enough content. But it did have a fun leveling system, some, like, class ups and stuff, and I had a pretty damn good time, actually, playing this with Tenchi and Lynn, and I think Rex was our fourth. So, surprisingly, I think I have to put that ahead of Days Gone for zombie games. I think that's a C for me. I kind of wish I put, like, a line somehow so this text all lined up evenly. Yeah, World War C. Away, Journey to the Unexpected. This is the anime roguelite exploration puzzle shooter. Really fun, actually. Really like this game quite a bit. I didn't finish it, so I guess that speaks to something about it, but I did enjoy my time with it and did come back to it, I think, at least once. It had a very cool art style that was a bit different than I'd ever seen. It was, like, really polished looking. Is this like a... I think this is also a C. Which is... I think it's, like, a little bit above average or average. But in a world of genre similarities, it does do quite a bit to separate itself from the pack. So it's like a kind of in between a C and a B. I'm leaving lots of room at the top for quite a few of these games here that were astoundingly good. So in a way, they've kind of pushed the whole tier ranking list down a bit. Reventure. You know I loved Lonk's Adventure. I mean, if you were there to watch any of the sessions we played on it, this game was so fucking hype. I actually loved it. Minus the one off-color joke that they apparently sorted out. It's really good. When you get given the disagree a lot, disagree, neither agree, agree a lot questions, do you say neither a lot? No, I don't think I fit into, like, a particular archetype of those. I just say what applies at the moment. I think Reventure is going to be an A for me. I think out of all the ones that we've ranked so far, Reventure is the one that I would be most likely to recommend to the most people. It had a sense of humor. It had a weirdly compelling, unlocking world. And you would think you would get bored, right, of doing the same thing 100 times, but I very rarely felt that way. It also did a really good job to not feel repetitive. It kept throwing new weird things in there to mix it up, so, you know, big props to the developer on that one. Kept it fresh for quite a few hours. Runner 3. I think you all know I love Runner. It's basically a Guitar Hero game filtered through a side-scroller. This particular one had some, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a lack of definition to the levels, maybe. I don't really remember them super clearly. But I know I had a good time when I was playing it, and I remember playing that one challenge level for like 2 hours. So it's definitely hard. I feel like it might have had an anticlimactic ending as well. But it's Runner, so like it's gonna be a B. Those games have always had pretty damn high polish and pretty easy to recommend. I feel like a lot of people maybe didn't even realize Runner came out, or Runner 3 came out. Runner 3 is 2018? It was May 20... Oh my god, get out of here. Alright, you don't get to be on the list, Runner 3. You would have been a B, though. Make a new list called 2018. You get to go on that list. Nova Drift. This is the roguelite Asteroids style shooter, where every time you play it, you get a slightly different ship build. And this game was actually kind of brilliant. I don't think it got talked about nearly enough. They've also just recently added a bunch more content to it, so I think I need to come back and look at it again. Is this by release date or by date you played it? By release date. They should all be games released in 2019. Nova Drift is a B. But it's like a B+, honestly. I think out of the Bs that are here... Yeah, well, that and Astroneer are both really good. Ancestors might be a little below, if we have to put that level of granularity on it. Apologize if anybody's OCD is bothering them from these being not quite lined up. Like, I could sit and tweak the... it's not worth the time. Metro Exodus. I didn't play enough of this to really know my full opinion of it, but just based on what I played, it seemed really good. I was gawking at the graphics as I desired to. I really love the sense of place that they gave you. Like, that's a really big part of that series as far as I understand. The atmosphere and the sort of sense of foreboding dread that permeates everything. And I think they did a great job at cultivating that, so I'm going to also give that one a B. I know, I put it underneath Reventure, can you believe it? A game with, like, 4x4 sprites versus the peak of our ability to process. Yeah, well, that's reality for you, right? Link's Awakening, our new remake that just came out. This is a very fondly remembered game for me, very nostalgic for this one. Seems like they did quite a good job, well, for the most part, working out how the game could look for a new audience. I'm still quite disappointed that it has some graphical hiccups, some frame rate problems. I kind of wish they didn't have those problems, because if it didn't, this would be an easy A for me. As it stands, though, I gotta give it a B. If you have nostalgia for this game, you won't be disappointed, but we really shouldn't be seeing like 17 FPS in this day and age. I hope one day, maybe, they can patch it out if it ends up being something that's not a hardware bottleneck. But still, if you look at the company that it's in. These are all very good games. Gonto Roboto. This is the black and white cat mech Metroidvania. I didn't finish it. It's a bit on the short side. I think it was like maybe 5 hours. I think I played like 3.5. I enjoyed the game quite a bit. I can't really remember anything jumping out at me that I was frustrated with for the most part. It was pretty good. That being said, I also don't really remember a lot of things that jumped out at me as particularly memorable either. So as far as Metroidvanias go, I think it was good. I think it was easy to recommend if it's in kind of like a discount situation. As a full-price game, though, it kind of just depends on if you really like the idea of a cat in a mech. That did it for me a little bit. I think I'm putting this one in the D category, but it's a D with love. Again, none of these games on this list I thought were actually, like, legitimately bad. They all just had some shortcomings one way or the other. Yeah, always love your D. Ace Combat 7. Now, this one took me for a loop. I did not expect to really like an Ace Combat game. I have almost no history with this series at all. I've maybe spent an hour with any other Ace Combat game throughout the entire series. Which one was it on PS2? Ace Combat 4? I remember it had a grayish-green cover, and, well, it's gonna have a plane on it. Anyway, it had a really weirdly compelling story and very, very good graphics. I couldn't even expect going into this that I was gonna actually get into it this much. I think this was actually like a B. Ace Combat 7 was really quite good. So if you've been a sleeper on this series in general, maybe it might be time to give it a look. Cooking Simulator. For with Shattered Skies. You know, I could just look it up on Google, but that's okay. Cooking Simulator is a great concept. It takes sort of a goofy premise, and then it wraps it in this ultra-serious veneer. And there's something kind of funny, ironic, sardonic about the way they put it together. It takes itself so seriously, but it also isn't afraid to be a little bit goofy at the same time. And it does what it advertises, yeah. I did find a lot of the controls to be frustrating in a bad way, not in a funny way. I haven't played it in a few months, though, so I don't know if maybe it's gotten any better. And also, should be noted, Lynn was just, like, better at it than I was, so maybe there was something wrong with me more than the game. I definitely enjoyed the premise. The execution maybe left a bit to be desired, but it was really, really polished and well done. So this is going to be a C category, C for cooking. Borderlands 3. This is going to be a tough one. Okay, so I've been playing this more than pretty much anything else right now. Which you would think would obviously impart sort of a bias in a positive direction. The more I play it, it feels like the less I like it. But I've actually finished the game, and I'm doing side quests now, and still collecting stuff. And there's some kind of weird, like, chemical dependency that's keeping me engaged with it, even though I'm not really having a ton of fun either. I'm very conflicted here. It has a lot of problems. The game has a ton of bugs. It crashes all the time. I mean, a lot of people have complained about how it's got really bad frame rate. Yeah, it's rewarding, and the gameplay mechanics keep me stuck to it, but, like, every time the NPCs start talking, I kind of want to put a pillow over them. But yet I keep coming back to it, so it's really difficult to find where this fits. I don't think it's the best Borderlands game still. I still think the first one is. Personally, some people really love 2. I personally really love 1. That's okay, and the different strokes for different folks. I kind of hated the story. I really like collecting the guns, but then I'm always out of inventory space. And yeah, I've been, upgrading my SDU slots as you do. I think I've gotten all but the last backpack SDU, so I have 37 out of 40 slots. And even with that amount, I mean, I tend to have about 5 to 8 things always in my inventory. And one of them you can't get out of your inventory, by the way, which is ridiculous, actually. You can't put it in the bank. There's like a special gun they give you that does something that no other gun does, and you can't get rid of it. And you don't always need it. Like, you technically don't ever need it, but if you want it, you need the ability to have it. Anyway, it's just really a hard one. I feel like I have to compromise between I love the gameplay mechanics with I don't particularly like the game. I don't know what that means. Is it a C? Is it like a C if they patch it a bit? It doesn't take up slots. It doesn't take up a space. I literally didn't understand that. I never noticed. Which is also crazy because I've had my inventory down to 3 things and I still didn't notice. Okay, thank you for telling me that. That makes me a little less frustrated. I guess it's a C? It needs patches, like many patches. Well, so looking at all of the other games in this particular spot, I think, to be fair, it's actually between these two. I've played it more and gotten more time out of it than any of these games. But I definitely didn't enjoy it as much as almost any of these games. Also, several times, I've just switched my weapon and the game just turns off. Which I don't think any of these have done. I think it's actually going to be a C+, even though I think probably it doesn't deserve it. Okay. Can I... Oh, it wants to snap for some reason? What's it snapping to? Oh, probably the top of East Shade. Okay, just go down like 3. Is that clear that that's between the 2 slots? Problematic yeah, a little bit. I'll move this down a little too. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree with that opinion on Borderlands, those that have played it? Absolutely disagree? But I didn't play it personally. Okay. I would have put it in the D section. I think I do have to give it credit, though, for being the game I've put, I don't know, 60 hours in. And the only other one on this list, even at all right now, that I've put 60 hours in is probably Reventure. If even that, it might not even be that many. But yeah, I'm not trying to dunk on it, though. Like, I'm just being straight up completely honest. My opinion of it is very complicated. And it also runs fine for me, which is the other thing. I know a lot of people have had that problem. If the game is ran with low FPS, I could easily see it running down into the D category very quickly. And I really like the weapon skins. They feel like the coolest unlocks you can get, even though they're actually really minor and stupid. If you'd spent 60 hours on a pachinko machine, would it still be a B? No, because it would just be a pachinko machine. The level of competency that they've crafted the Skinner box has to count for something. It is complicated, though. No Kenshi? I didn't play Kenshi, sorry. This is just stuff I've played so far this year. And it's still gonna have a few more entries coming in. No need to justify. Oh, no, I know. I want to justify it, though, because I enjoyed the debate, and I kind of was curious to hear what you would say about it as well. I'm also open to, like, revising my opinion a little bit if it turns out I just kind of didn't consider something. But I think out of all of these, I have played a lot of hours of it and have thought about it quite a bit, so... yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with it being a C+, B- kind of category. You have 2 better Twitch TV emotes with the same name. Oh yeah, I think there's a reason for that. Or if there's not, I think I tried to fix it and it didn't get fixed. I'll look into it later. Thank you, though. Okay, Katana Zero. This was the kind of cyberpunk half narrative, half action game where you can, like, stop time and cut bullets in half. And then it had this really weird, ill-advised stealth section for a while. I pretty much enjoyed this, but also thought that it went a little bit heavily on narrative over gameplay in ways that were not the most fun. Again, if we were to split hairs, I would probably say this is like a C-. But I think I'm okay also putting it in the C category. I think it was a bit better than your Ds that have gone there. The gameplay itself is quite satisfying. I just thought there wasn't quite enough of it for my particular taste. Yeah, what happened to the Cadence of Hyrule soundtrack? It got a little weird. Oh, I think we're building tension, maybe? Let's get back to some grooves. I want to keep the atmosphere light. Okay, so now I have to choose from Control or Resident Evil Remake. Let's do Control first. Control is a complicated one as well. Not as complicated as Borderlands 3, but complicated nonetheless. Probably one of the most atmospherically interesting games that I've ever played. Graphically, gorgeous. Borderline stunning. And also I'm aware this will be a dated statement in time, but as it stands at this very particular moment in space-time, cowboy, it is worth mentioning that this is, in my opinion, the best introduction to ray tracing, or I should say real-time dynamic ray tracing in video games, that actually uses the lighting to great effect and is beneficial to the game. So, in this case, the expositional elements were the driving force of my interest. The background information, the story narrative, the character interactions, the lore, all of that, combined with the really imaginative use of space and lighting, made the immersion and the atmosphere of it incredibly compelling. Now, the thing is, that is balanced and juxtaposed against the combat, which, it being a Remedy game, they really wanted quite a bit of that in there, and I find that to be unfortunate. The combat was oddly not the best part of the game. They had some elements of it that tried to make it a bit more interesting, and I like the way they played the service, what do they call it? The service handgun or whatever, with the telekinesis ability. But like half the abilities didn't really have all that much use, and the modding element felt a little half-baked. Service weapon, thank you. And thank you, Oliver RS, for the Twitch Prime subscription. And the more I played it, especially toward the last quarter of the game or so, like the final act, I felt like it started to come apart a little bit, because it started to over-rely on the combat mechanisms and the really dexterity-driven elements of gameplay rather than pushing the atmosphere as much, which was a huge negative, honestly. But I can't fault them for having such an original premise and seeing it through to the degree that they have. Even though my opinion of it sort of soured a little bit in the end and post-credits sequence, I still think it's a phenomenal game, and I still think it's absolutely worth playing. But you do have to bear in mind, like, some of the strengths of the game are not the ones that are typically the strengths of your prototypical video game. So you gotta come into it with an interest and a curiosity for the subject matter. And if you don't have that, well, you're left with sort of this subpar combat, but very visually striking scenarios and environments. So I think, bearing in mind some of the weaknesses, I still have to give them a huge shout out for their art design and give it an A. It could have been an S, and for about half of the game it was an S. But that's how good it was, that bearing all of that, it still lands in an A. And I also think that if there's a future to this as a series, or like a long-lasting IP, the second one will truly determine the trajectory of where that goes. I really hope that they get the distinction that the combat being subpar in a lot of ways isn't an indictment on the idea. It just means it kind of needs a bit of a refocus and a rebalance. But if we get into number 2, or whatever they end up going with, if there is a number 2, and bearing in mind there's also going to be DLC, so that will set the tone as well. If we get into the whatever is next with Control, and it ends up being very combat-focused, I think that'll really determine, for me anyway, kind of what their overall ideas are there. And that would be unfortunate if that ends up being the case. I don't think it will be, but we'll see. Resident Evil Remake. Resident Evil 2 Remake. So this is a game that I liked originally quite a bit. In fact, I would say it's pretty close to my favorite Resident Evil. I would still say it's probably Resident Evil 1 Remake. But definitely up there. The original one, I mean. Resident Evil 2 Remake, though, went even further than the original Resident Evil Remake, and absolutely jacked up all of the production values way up there. I'm trying to remember if there was anything at the time that I was really mad about or found unintuitive, and not much is springing to mind. It's like, it's gotta be an S for me. I think this might actually be one of the best. And this is not something I planned myself. I would have told you probably a month ago that maybe Control would be exactly on the same par as Resident Evil 2. But no, I think actually it might have just a slight edge on it. For different reasons, of course. Oh, thank you so much, Pluto. I was just reading what you were saying. Thank you for the 46 months. Says, I'm a bit of a cheesy mood. Heads up, I'm really grateful for you in this community. Often a lurker, but I find your stream a place that feels consistently welcoming and settling. Thanks and happy subversary. Thank you. And I'm very grateful to you as well. Both to you individually and for being a part of the community that helps keep the mood so happy and welcoming. Thanks for spending all these years with us. What is the time frame of this tier list? This is stuff that came out in 2019 that I have played personally. But not limited to, well, like, the next 2 months can still change things. I can still put things on the list, I mean. Alright, I could probably talk about Resident Evil 2 Remake a bit more, but I think I've gotten my point across. Also, I don't think it should factor in, but the fact that I was able to do the first-person mode was super cool. That really shouldn't affect the score, because it has nothing to do with what the game was as it shipped as a package, but I think it might be giving me a positive bias as well. Why is your 9 weird? Is my 9 weird? Boney Skellerman, thank you for gifting a sub to Nutsy. Where are you seeing a weird 9? "2019 games. Jesus, that 9. It had a weird notch at the top? Oh, he meant purple fires. Huh. I don't see anything. Maybe it's just your computer. Okay, Warsaw. Only just played this very recently. And bear in mind, this was a bounty game that I played, or a sponsored game, rather. This was the sort of Darkest Dungeon style World War II strategy RPG. I quite like this game, actually. I thought it was more compelling than I thought it would be immediately, and given that I didn't have an especially strong draw to Darkest Dungeon, which this has a lot of similar mechanics to it, I thought maybe it would put me off in some of the same ways, but I found it didn't. Despite it being rather difficult and, you know, similarly. I think I've got to put this one in the C category as well. I would recommend it for sure, and if you're someone who gets into this type of game, either for the World War II history buffs, or the Darkest Dungeon buffs, or the strategy, you know, extra thought-critical kind of game style, I think you might find a lot to like in Warsaw, and I would definitely give it a look. You're still arguing about the 9? Devil May Cry 5. Now, this was a tour de force, man. I actually was losing my mind while I was playing this. It was super sexy stylish. I remember many moments of sheer joy. I remember a few moments of less than joy, but there were many moments of just pure, visceral, in-your-face nonsense. And then at one point, you just start cutting up demons with chainsaws that are made out of motorcycles. I mean, what's not to like? It's really good. I think I also have to put this in S, actually. Both of these games should probably go in S. Now, what's interesting here, though, is even though these two are probably very likely to be my tops for the year, I think Control will probably be the one that's the most memorable out of them. Because it just had such an, like, really, I wanted to say insidious, but that's kind of the wrong word for it. It just creeps into your mind and just makes you think about it all the damn time. Well, you still got some left here. Let's see. Trying to see if there's any obvious ones that would, like, put up competition to those. Well, let's just keep going down the line. Piku Niku. A very pleasant, I want to say, platform puzzle-ish expositional game. It's kind of the puzzle equivalent of a walking sim in a way. very simple puzzles. They weren't really there to provide much more than a few moments of a roadblock. Nothing that I'm sure like anyone here would have trouble with. I did too many double negatives there. I'm fairly sure no one here would have any trouble with what happens in Pikuniku. But it was just charming. It was delightful. It was colorful. It had sort of a Loco Roco aesthetic to it. Just pleasant to be in the world of, which I think does count for something. I feel like this is gonna be a B for me, actually. It's probably only a one-time playthrough, unfortunately. Like, I don't see much redeeming, recurring value to it, but it was a very pleasant experience. So, Baba Is You. Probably has to be the most clever puzzle game to come out this year. Possibly one of the more clever puzzle games that's come out ever. Yeah, it has to be at least an A. It's such a simplistic premise that's taken to such outrageous lengths. And it's done really well. It's done in a clever, iterative way that keeps the player always maybe one step behind where they mentally need to be able to complete each one of the puzzles as you go. So I think it has to be an A for me. I could probably qualify that more. Despite not finishing it, by the way. I didn't finish it. But I did enjoy it quite a bit, what I played. And there's a decent chance that I will finish it, actually. Because it's good enough that I think it's worth figuring out the more difficult puzzles. So Risk of Rain 2 is not out of early access, so I'm not sure if this should be on the list. Maybe we'll put that over here for now, and we'll consider it later. Streets of Rogue. Surprisingly, clever implementation of somewhat dissonant gameplay styles. It's got this sort of sandboxiness, but then also very focused RPG tropes as well within the sandboxiness. And I do grant, by the way, the things that I just said are very commonly seen in a lot of games, so they're not particularly dissonant. But where it gets real weird is when they kind of just throw caution to the wind and let you just destroy everything, right? Like, that's not quite as common. I think Streets of Rogue is quite good. I don't know if it had as much appeal to me personally as it seemed to for a lot of other people. But I definitely appreciate what they were going for. So I think this is going to be in the C category for me. But with respect, of course. Now, Untitled Goose Game. Okay, it's gonna be a tough call here. It's a very clever, really well thought out game that has... It's turned the concept of being a cheeky goose into just this brilliant... It's like a commentary on anti-stealth. Okay, I gotta take a few steps back here because I'm getting speech jammed in my own mind. So on one hand, it's a comedy game. It's there to be funny and silly and give you a few laughs and just generally give you a good feeling while you play it. It also has legitimate, actual gameplay mechanics, but you're not punished for them if you don't really want to pay close attention. So it's got a little bit of that goat simulator thing to it, even though it's more focused. It also doesn't overstay its welcome and has really nicely polished visuals. Now, whether or not it should aspire to be anything more than it is kind of a personal, subjective matter. I'm still hung up on this idea that it could have taken a turn, but it's almost refreshing that it doesn't. It's like 3.5 hours long. You feel things for a while. You enjoy the time with the goose. You solve all the puzzles, and then your time with the goose has come to an end. And then all that's left is internet memes. And maybe that's just okay. Maybe that's fine. I almost just want to say, I have to also say that music is fantastic to that game. That's something that's worth mentioning. The presentation music, the whole vibe of it is perfectly coherent. So I have to say, for the sake of it being so well put together as a complete package, I'm putting it an A. I know that seems maybe a bit depreciating toward some of the other titles in the A category, but I like things for different reasons. Like, if you're to say that Untitled Goose Game is such a very vastly different experience than Control is, and yet I'm putting them on the same plateau, I don't think that there's anything weird about that, really, personally. It's very well designed, yeah. That's what I'm trying to get at. All of the thought process behind the decisions that were made about it, it's a much smaller package than something like Control, but it also means they get to tie up, like, all the loose ends. So, that's where I'm putting it. It's going in A. Thank you very much, Ill-Advised Meme Name, for subscribing for your... That is your second consecutive year. Thank you very much. I feel like there's not a ton of replayability. You're probably right about that, yeah. If there were more areas to go to, 100%, I'd go back. No doubt. I would want to see every little bit of new Goose content, but just giving me a list of, like, do this, but do it faster. I mean, it's fine that it's there, but it doesn't really get me going, you know? If they ever do DLC for it, I don't know if they will, but if they ever do, I'll jump in again. Yeah, give me new Goose content. Children of Morta is an exceptionally good roguelite action RPG. This one's very high on my list of things I need to keep playing as well. I don't really even have a good excuse for why I haven't kept playing it. It's mostly just there's other stuff and I get distracted. So, I mean, as far as faults go, can't come up with much. Really, really nice art style. Ambience was great. The loop to it was well thought out. I'm gonna put this in the B category, personally. An easy recommendation. The Sojourn. You might remember this as the first-person puzzle game with a really, really pretty visual aesthetic. Kind of looked a bit like The Witness, where we swap with statues all the time, and then it slowly iterated on the premise of being in this light or a dark world, and then all the different things you could do with, like, how many steps you could take to swap with the statue and what your sight lines are. Really well visually put together. I didn't get to see enough of the narrative to know where it goes or if it ends up being satisfying. My one feeling about it was that although the puzzles are very well done, they kind of beat you over the head with just puzzle after puzzle after puzzle, and that's totally a subjective thing, 'cause if you just want that style of puzzle, that's just what you're getting. Nothing wrong with that. But I was kind of more interested in the aesthetic, like I wanted a little bit of a chance to explore, and it was very vastly go from this puzzle to that puzzle, and they give you one room as a hub. You walk out of one, you walk into the next one. And since the puzzles are all level-based, you know, there's no real exploration. You're just locked into these grooves. But what was there was very well done. So I think this one's going to end up in the C category, but again, it's a C with great respect. I could even see this possibly sitting somewhere above, like, a C+. It's in good company. Every one of these games is good stuff. we're going to talk about Islanders. Now, this game took me off guard. I didn't expect this to be so satisfying. It's just a little... It almost felt like a mobile game, right? Like, it's so simple. They give you a little bit of plot of land, and then you get to pick these little buildings, and you set them up in proximities to each other. And you just try to get your population count as high as you can. And for some reason, the way that they did it, the exact way that they did it, was so easy to grasp onto and just really tranquil and calm and enjoyable. Islanders is a game that I think got slept on even more. Like, I know people around in my proximity actually really liked Islanders. I still think with that in mind, it still was being slept on a bit. It's a B, actually, for me. It's a B. And it's a strong B. It's a big, strong, muscly bee that will sting you if you're not nice to it. I need to put some, like, bullet marks at the beginning of each of these so these don't bleed together into one big pile. Supraland! Alright, Supraland was that, it's a Metroidvania, first-person Metroidvania where you're a tiny little man in, like, this big sandbox world. And you get to discover nooks and crannies, and I believe you had some kind of goal, but to be honest, I wasn't really paying much attention. I was just exploring, enjoying the environment, looking around. I thought Supraland was alright. I have positive feelings about it. At the same time, I can't really get, like, super excited about it either. And I don't really know why. It was just, like, it was good. Oh, yeah, it had some, like, kind of awkward reference humor, didn't it? It was one of those ones that's like, I'll play this once, and I'll kind of just enjoy my time with it, but I don't know if I'll go back to it. I think we're looking at, like, a D here. I don't know, that feels kind of harsh, but I think that's where I'm going with it. That one might be up for debate. I didn't put Senran Kagura Peach Ball on there. I don't even know if that came out this year or not. I just got it when I saw it was cheap or something. I don't even know why I got it. Oh, right, I saw it on Keymailer, and then I put a request for it, and I was like, I kind of want to play this anyway, and they didn't give me a key, so then I bought it anyway. Came out December Deb 8. I think you're saying it's December of last year, but okay. Peach Ball was August. Oh, it was this year. I thought you really liked Supraland. I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering it, because I thought I did too, but now that I think about it again, it's like, I don't know, do I really want to go back to it? When I look at all of this, like the other games that it's up against here in this category, this feels right. But it does also feel harsh, so I'm not really sure. Generation Zero. We're just gonna move on. We can always just move it. It's just a piece of text, you know? If I change my mind. This is where I'm putting it right now. Generation Zero was that kind of weirdly almost an MMO first-person shooter where there's like robots that have taken over this landmass, and you get to explore it and look for stuff while slowly liberating it a little at a time, and you were kind of like uncovering a conspiracy as you go. These are set in stone. It had really, really, really polished visuals. Like, it looked phenomenal. But the gameplay was iffy at best. And then I got to a bunker, and I think someone in around that time had told me in chat, like, this is kind of the whole game. But it had this huge, like, Just Cause size map. I was like, well, that's real bad, because we played it for like 3 hours, and I had seen all of the content there is to see. Is that really true? I don't know if that's the case, because I didn't continue playing it beyond that. It was such a strange title, because it seemed really promising and ambitious, but also it had such high polish with so little content. I was very confused. It seemed like it was letting on that it was a much more robust experience than it actually ended up being. Yeah, Scandinavian robot game, that's the right one. And so, like, I can't really give it any points for something that only exists in my head. Like, in my head, it seems like a C. But in reality, what we played was, like, down here. It was very pretty, but mostly bland. Anybody disagree with that? I'm open to possibly going as high as a D with it. Excuse me, let me have a drink. Excuse me. I don't know if enough people even saw it, really, to have opinions about it, so... I don't know. It's probably not one I'm going to recommend. Now let's talk about Forager. Forager is a wonderful game featuring a negative world version of Mar. It's like an inverted color scheme Mar that goes on a wonderful adventure across a series of islands. It's actually one of the most addictive things I've ever played in my life. And I'm not saying that to garner points, it just is that fun. Sue them for copying your mask. Now, if the game had gone a bit further than it went, in terms of, well, when you run out of islands, you've seen it, like, that's all of it. I wish heartily and dearly that it did that, but it doesn't, which unfortunately caps it at like a 20-30 hour max, it seemed like. Yeah, it was a bit smaller than I expected it to be, and I went and played it again. Like, I played the PC version before it was released, and I played it again after it was released, then I played the Switch version, basically in its entirety in, like, 2 or 3 sittings over the course of a couple of days. Was it way shorter than 20 hours? Okay, I might be misremembering then. But what is in it is incredibly concentrated in its goodness. So I think I'm going to put it on A. I think with some more patches, with additional content, it could easily slip up into the S category for me. But as it stands, I have to just admit that unfortunately it's got a little too little content for how addictive it is. I know that's such a weird thing to say, but like, it feels like a betrayal when you get to the end of it. It's like, you've done it all. What's now? I need more. Yeah, it's a clicker game, but better. It's an active clicker that you actually need to be playing actively and discovering things. And it's got this kind of Zelda-like quality to it as well. And I'll admit the combat is not the best. But they're actually working on an update for that too, so... the game has long-term plans to become more robust. And I will be very happy to see that if that's the case. I'm also just really psyched for this developer. Because, well, if you see in the game, there's actually a little, like, a comic panel that gets unlocked about the history of how the game came to be. And this team, this very small team, created this title out of just a love for this concept, and it actually seems like it's doing very well for them. So I'm very happy to see that, and I'm happy to have been able to provide them a little bit of a platform at a time or two. Yeah, it made me tear up. Really nice guy. Mortal Kombat 11. Really good, but, you know, it's Mortal Kombat. How many Mortal Kombats have we played? I don't know, maybe 11 at this point, possibly more. It had potential to be transformative levels of good because of the way they did the, like, customization system, but I really didn't like that they cut back on the roster quite as much as they had, and then they kind of distributed out all the parts for your character that make them more customizable through way too many hours of gameplay. It didn't have Reptile, so F tier. No, it's not that simple, but I do wish it had Reptile. It had a really entertaining story mode, I'll give it that. And the combat's solid. I mean, it's just been getting better. So if they could just stop dicking around and adding, like, every horror movie character into the roster and just keep the actual characters we want... I don't know, maybe it could really end up being something amazing again, and it's verging on that. But I think right now it's still leveling on a B for me. Depending on my mood, I could even see it being a C, actually. I think I'm okay with a B. You were into Aaron Black? Yeah, I think I have to give it a lot of credit, though, for having just a very entertaining story mode. I was glued to it. It was just weirdly compelling. So here's one that I don't know what to do with. Sekito. Our Souls-like for the year. Oh, man. How do I rank this? I mean, I have to go on my own experience. But I grant that my own experience is kind of flawed. No, I'm not trying to dumpster it either. It's just I want to give it its own proper justice. I really appreciate the level of attention that the parry mechanics get because it's a game about swordsmanship. It also has a mystical quality about it that's just interesting. It pulls you in a bit. It also does, though, seem like it really just wants to beat you over the head with bosses non-stop, which I find to be a little bit boring. Especially when you've got such an interesting subject matter as, you know, feudal Japan to look around and explore. It seemed like they just really wanted to push you through to the next boss, to the next boss, to the next boss, which were often skill checks and all required a lot of time and effort to get past. But I also don't have the big picture, right? I don't know how many bosses there were in total. I was told the game opens up, like, a little past right where I was. But I was also told I was, like, halfway through the game, so... I don't know, how much does that count for at that point? Where did I stop? The arrow guy in the tower? I fought him for hours, and then I couldn't beat him, and I think I turned the stream off and I didn't play it again after that. I'm sure I can beat him, but it just wasn't happening in the time that I was given it. Game branches out. Okay. It's a tough call. Because on one hand, I really do appreciate the very specific thing about it being a Dark Souls game with swordplay that's, you know, katanas and slashiness like that. And the mobility added in a Dark Souls game is also really cool. I mean, you have never had the ability to grapple around an environment like that before. But I was just put off by the non-stop bosses. think, can we just compromise and call it a B? But I think that's honestly where it really does sit for me. I wonder if it could be higher if I'd played more of it. Also, why does the font look weird for this? Yeah, that's the right font. Why does it look weird, though? Is it bigger? 36? No, they're all 36 Calibri. What are we listening? Is this still Cadence? It's just like a metal song now. Is it bold? No. No, it's exactly the same as the font next to it, so I don't understand why it looks different. Whatever. Yeah, I think I'm good with B. It's okay. I kind of like it being in a slightly different font. It, it gives it its own sense of character. I think you should rate the games on your own experience. You can't be objective, so don't try. Well, I'm not trying really to be objective, but I'm trying to take into account as many factors as I can. And this is all it ever is gonna be, is just my opinion. When I say, does this look right to you, what I'm really asking is, does this seem square with your understanding? Like, did I forget about some big cool thing about it? Because the weird benefit of streaming everything is you guys act like my memory sometimes. So, Dicey Dungeons. This is a really good game. They nailed the puzzle aspect of being not overtly simple, but also very accessible. And each character is meaningfully different. I still haven't seen all the characters. There also seems to be a ton of replay content to it. I think this is an A for me. I don't know. Put it here, I guess. It feels kind of... Can we get it over there? Yeah, that's fine. There's no element of Dicey Dungeons that comes up particularly short. You know, the thought process behind the puzzles, the visual presentation, the gameplay loop, the amount of content there is, the music, the way you interact with it in general, it's all well thought out and clever and just nicely done. Although I guess I haven't gotten to the bugs or difficulty spikes, if that ends up being a factor. I know Rex was kind of mad at times that it was frustrating. Now, Mirador, also in early access. I don't know why I put that in there either. Oh, because I mistook it for a different game, that's why. Okay, you guys live up here for now. This is the early access section until we settle that. Yeah, this was the one where you fought bosses, and then you could, like, customize your own boss. And it was designed for you to play it co-op, but then there, like, wasn't really anybody to play with. I thought you put those onto the Twitch UI. Now, that would be something if I could just pop stuff out and drag it onto your desktop. Yeah, Brigador was, like, 2 years ago. That was the mech destructible one, I think. House Flipper, then. I really like House Flipper. That's probably not surprising for you to hear. I had a tremendously fun time knocking down walls, and... Wait, did this even come out this year? Oh, it was in early access last year, right? And then it came out this year officially. I think that's what happened. Yeah, that's what I meant. It was to put Garden Flipper, but Garden Flipper was DLC for House Flipper, so actually I don't know what I'm doing. I think I just saw it and was like, oh, I played that recently. Wait, what else was... Nova Drift and Demon's Tilt are also in early... Oh, crap. Okay, this section is getting a little ridiculous. Where did I put... Oh, Nova Drift I already ranked. Oh, fuck, Noita's in early access too. Oh no, every game's in early access. Get him out of there. I can't even rank House Flipper at all, because it's just DLC. What have I done? Well, Noita is going to be like a solid A for me, if you care. Void Bastards, though, that came out, I think. I hope that came out. So this was the roguelite first-person shooter with the System Shock kind of creepy vibe and like a strangely dark sense of humor. Oh yeah, we could revisit for sure. That's why I just put him up here instead of deleted him. Void Bastards was definitely better than I thought it was going to be based on the little bit I knew before playing it. I got into the gameplay loop, I really liked the atmosphere, and the meta progression, if I remember, was quite fun as well. I think it's leaning more into the B category than the C category for me. Let's move Sekito over here. It's so weird how that one looks different. It might be that when I play more of it, if I get kind of tired of that loop, maybe it ends up closer to a C, but the amount I played, it was more in that category for me. Pathway. This was the FTL style Indiana Jones turn-based XCOM combat game. Is that enough class genre delineations? You make a pathway through the desert at a series of nodes. It had a whole bunch of unlockable characters and areas and things that I never got to. It seemed really interesting to me, but I also found it a little bit tedious at times too. I think there were a few times when I just kind of got a bad roll and that was the end of the run. Excuse me. Oh yeah, it had lovely art. Yeah, this seems like a C for me. Definitely respectable C. That's one of those ones that, like, I could easily see people passing over it, not realizing it's worth their time. But it is. It is worth your time. You should check it out. Code Vein. So I did a bounty for this the other day. I wasn't expecting much going into it. I thought, oh, well, I've heard it's got a good character creator, and you can make, like, anime characters, and it's got some Dark Soulsiness to it. But, like, so does Bound by Flame, so does Fallen Lords, or whatever it was. So yeah, Dark Soulsiness doesn't necessarily equate to an amazing time every time. And I thought maybe the anime-ness, I don't know, I felt like it could go either way. It could either accentuate the Dark Soulsiness and make it cooler, or it could make it overly unintuitive and complex and throw in a million buzzwords. And as it turns out, I was pleasantly surprised. I think it did the good thing instead of the bad thing. And then you pair the incredibly complex character editor with some absolutely badass swords and, like, pretty decent combat mechanics. It's not bad at all, actually. I've heard it's quite long as well. The story might get into the weeds a bit when it comes to what they're talking about at a given point, because there's blood codes and ichor and, I don't know, all kinds of manners of tears of blood and bloodiness. So yeah, there's definitely a chance you could be put off by that stuff. I thought it was alright, though. I think it's acceptable. And I was guarded for that. I was ready for that. So I think this is also going to go in the B category for me. And B's getting a lot of love. Maybe that's the way it should be. You have to also keep in mind I self-select a bit, in that I tend to only play games that I already think I'll probably like. So when you look at this list, it's like, largely, I got it right. And then a few of them really accentuate and go above the top. Alright, let's do A Plague Tale. I think there's more to that title, but A Plague Tale. So this is the girl and her younger brother in the French Revolution era Black Plague. Oh, Innocence, thank you. It had really stunningly beautiful, well-composed visuals. I was actually, like, really struck by some of those first scenes, if I remember, in the woods. And it turns into one of those, I want to compare it sort of favorably to Ico, but with a little bit more nuance. You know, it's sort of an escort quest, but then also there's a bit more going on than that. Yeah, there's also rat stacks. It's the game where there's billions of rats that form a sea around you everywhere, and it's very visually striking. Because you just don't really see rats as liquid too often. It's a sea of rats. I was weirdly attached to the main character very quickly. I like that 4-tile T-dog rat. And I think the premise was we're trying to get somewhere to see if we can, like, cure the plague, because I think the brother is not affected by it or something. There's also, like, vague witchcraft stuff going on at the beginning. I don't really remember. I think the mom was a witch. And, like, everybody gets killed at the beginning. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I quite liked it. It was very pleasant in a very macabre way. Oh, the brother was, like, indirectly causing it. I feel like this might be in the, like, B+, A- kind of place. But maybe I'll just be okay with it being in a B as well. Being in a B. Now, Bloodstain, now that's a game, let me tell you what. So this is our successor to the Castlevania, the Igavanias series, now that Konami has, you know, fully embraced the devil and turned into some sort of evil miasma that absorbs IPs and holds them forever to turn into pachinko machines. The original creator of those series has gone off on his own to create a new, with his team, of course, a new reimagining of what it used to be. And as it turns out, did a phenomenal job with the whole thing. I was very skeptical early on. I'm a huge Castlevania fan, specifically the RPG mechanic ones. Not so much the original few, but like the, Dawn of Sorrow, Aria of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, Order of Ecclesia, those ones. Symphony of the Night. So this is a really great follow-up to those games. In fact, I would say this might be... Well, it's top 3, but I don't know what order to put them in anymore. And which one just got booted out of the top 3. So it's like Dawn of Sorrow, Aria of Sorrow, Bloodstained, or then reverse 2 of them, or put in Symphony of the Night. I'm just saying it's real good. It might have a few too many cooking quests. It might have a few things about it that feel a little bit not totally done. But also, I think they're, like, adding more stuff to it later anyway, so cool. But I'm not judging it on that. I've actually played through the whole game twice in a very short period of time. It's very good. If you have any attachment to Castlevania games, the Metroidvania genre, this is like a must-play for you. The fact that you can even customize your character, I wasn't expecting that at all. You get like a quarter way through the game and you find this NPC and they're like, how would you like to color your outfit? I'm like, what? This is a thing? I can color your hair and your outfit? It's really good. I'm gonna put it... Yeah, the fact that I played it twice in such a short time, I think it has to go in the S tier. It has enough originality that it stayed fun even many, many hours in, even after already doing it. And it was a farm fest, to be honest, toward the end of it, because I wanted to do all the cooking. But I still did it, and I was still okay with it. Descenders, did that come out this year? If Descenders was this year, absolutely, I'll put it in. Yeah. I just thought it was last year for some reason. Oh, okay. Oh. Now, I haven't played it in a little while, but I know it got very drastically overhauled. Descenders is really good. And they're adding workshop support. I think the patch came out today. They are, yeah, they're keeping constant upgrades and things going into it. It's been really well supported. I even would say this is like B+ category, but I'm also going to put this in the B area for now. Definitely check out Descenders. It's got to be the best mountain bike game that is out there. Train Valley 2. This is the puzzle/resource management game about moving trains from one area to the next. I thought this game was alright. I think Lynn liked it more than I did. I found it a little bit confusing, but it had a very pleasant, charming aesthetic and like a ton of levels. I think it was like an extremely good value. But for me, it's going to be a D. This is one of those ones that, like, you might find it personally much more enjoyable than I did. My brain was just not having it, though, for some reason. Wilmot's Warehouse. This is the one where you arrange a variety of products that are slowly expanding throughout the game, so you can easily recall them at your distribution center. So it's partially a puzzle game and partially a logistics game, which is surprisingly entertaining. It's also got a very simplistic but charming visual style. I still really want to watch more people play this game just to see what their thought process is how they decide to sort things and arrange them. And as I said when I was playing it, it really tickled this latent feeling of when I worked at GameStop, when I was in my prime of getting everything sorted and cleaned and arranged properly. I just had this really nice feeling of efficiency, and this game gave me that same vibe. So any game that makes me feel like I'm doing my job properly, I guess I have to give some credit to. It's also one of those ones like Untitled Goose Game that's very, it's easy to wrap up all the loose ends with and just have a very streamlined, well-made game design experience. You know, what it does well. So I think this one is also going in B. Jeez, I'm kind of losing meaning on the B category, aren't I? Rage 2. Rage 2 is kind of bad. This might be the worst game on the list, in my opinion. It was a bit cringy, the way they handled the dialogue, the fact that they gave you, like, weapon tutorials on how to use a shotgun. The whole gameplay style kind of felt a bit derivative to begin with. It had really good gunplay, though. Yeah, it had really good gunplay. I can't overlook that. That is really important. Because if I think about mechanically how I talked about Borderlands 3, I can't be a hypocrite and just forget all of that when I get to Rage 2. I would say the gunplay of Rage 2 may actually be slightly better than Borderlands 3, but there's obviously way more going on in Borderlands 3. Shit. I just didn't really like it. Everything about it felt abrasive and kind of rubbed me wrong. Just in a very short time, I went from going, all right, let's give this a try, to being like, oh, I really hate this kind of, don't want to keep playing this. But it has really good gunplay, though. But it also felt so generic and boring. I don't know. How about we'll compromise and say that how the gunplay is so good, it will take it out of F and deliver it at E. Although I guess, okay, so here's another factor. Say that Generation Zero and Rage were both discounted to the same price point. I would probably recommend Rage over Generation Zero, even though Rage is probably a worse game. It's just more memorable, or at least leaves more of an imprint in your mind, because it just feels mechanically better. I guess I just don't have an F. I guess I could just not use E. Whatever. You have to have an F. What was the horror game that was super disappointing? The last one, I'm thinking Outlast 2, but that's obviously not what you're talking about. The back rooms? Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't put something like that on here. The back rooms was just a, you know, it's a little, like a doodle of a game. It wasn't really like a big retail product. Yeah, melanchol music, I actually agree with you. I think that game suffered from being open in the way that it just left you completely aimless. Oh, was Dusk this year? Yeah, Devotion can be up there for sure. Let's put Devotion on. Oh, it was December? Okay. Yeah, if it's something I played from this year, I'm okay putting it on the list. As long as I guess it's not early access, because then it goes up here at the top. You really want me to put Senran Kagura Peach Ball? Okay, I'll do it. Let's just call it Peach Ball, though, because we don't need to write all that. Some of these areas are getting pretty full. This music's so good. Oh, this is the best of now. It rolled over to a new one. Did I check out Dark Devotion? No, I actually never did. I totally missed that one somehow, and I found out about it later. So I might go back to that one day. Can you spread out the BC downwards and move D? Maybe. Let's just finish the ones that are here, and then we can consider that. But you might be right. That might be an answer. Yeah, these are revisit at the top here. We might get back to these another day when they come out of early access. They might not come out of early access this year, but if they do. So Peach Ball, this is one of those ones where you go, how do you rank something like this? It's a game that's kind of like, you can't take it seriously, right? So what are you gonna do with that? So on one hand, it's a visual novel. On the other hand, it's a pinball game. But it's also a pinball game about giving girls orgasms with a vibrating ball. But it's also a really not bad mechanically made pinball game. Right? So, like, that's... It also has Hanzo. It's meant to be silly, yeah. But then, yeah, what Freely Willy Nilly said is also correct. It only has 2 pinball tables, which actually sucks. I didn't realize it, but it has very little content when it comes to the actual pinball. But the bit of pinball that was there was actually pretty fun. And it's only, yeah, it's also $40. That's shitty. That's too expensive for what it was, for sure. I mean, it has like a fully animated anime intro, and all the art is really polished. It's just such a weird niche category of things. Yeah, for 2 courses, it's a bad value. I agree. I had fun with it. I laughed with it. I mean, we all kind of just enjoyed the spectacle of it. It's such an odd creation. The fact that people spent all this time making this very specific product is kind of a spectacle unto itself. Hey, thanks very much, Snowkiller 677 for the 27 months. I'm gonna give it a D. which I know, I don't even mean it as a D for, like, as a joke, but the amount of actual genuine enjoyment I got from it was not nothing. The pinball is mechanically alright. It's too expensive. It doesn't have enough content. But it was alright. It's like a kernel of goodness in a bunch of mess. What is being ranked? Is it most likely to be recommended or most enjoyed? Well, there's a little bit of both in the last, or the first two there. Typically, the more I enjoy something, the more likely I am to recommend it, but that's just kind of how it works. Code Vein Descenders. No, I didn't play Outer Wilds. Yeah, this is just games that I personally played so far this year, and I'm gonna keep this list and we can add more to it. Oh, that music went vaguely Sonic there for a moment. Yes, I am gonna play Outer Wilds for sure. Okay, next one. Oh, and then Outer Worlds is coming out too. Yeah, no, it's all the early access ones are here at the top. I didn't want to put those in. Yeah, I could not remember the difference between Outer Wilds and Outer Worlds for the longest time. Am I going to do a best of the decade list? It's possible. It's going to require quite a bit of doing, but it might be fun. Yeah, Risk of Rain 2 is still early access. I put so many in there, I didn't realize how many I had. Yeah, no, I get it now, Wolfski, but it took me a while. Oh yeah, Hollow Knight will be on there, I agree. Okay, so Devotion. This is the horror game that... how do I even describe the story of this? It took you through... the perspective of a father who wanted to have his daughter succeed, and then a whole lot of life happened. Yeah, and was pulled from Steam. It's a really unfortunate that that is the thing that seems to define it most of the time, because it is actually really a solid and well worth seeing game. Yeah, the Chinese game. As far as it being a horror game, it kind of embraced the concept of horror in a way that was much more creative and deeper than most of the ones I usually see. I really respected the way that they chose to write the story out for it. It had a few moments that were a bit on the dull side, as is often the case, because you need a break every so often. You need a little bit of a suspense moment to build anticipation for something scary, or in this case, scary wasn't really scary as we're used to it being in horror games. It was more a sense of dread that ultimately culminates in a horrific act. Sort of like a well-written novel, more so than pop-up jump scare nonsense. So I can definitely recommend this one as being more substantive than the majority of horror games that I've played. As someone who, I guess I find myself a bit of a horror game connoisseur, because there's so few good ones. I almost feel like this might graduate to an A. Just for how exceptional it is, like just how different it is than usual. Oh yeah, Layers of Fear has to go on there too, because I did even play the whole thing. Yeah, I think I'm okay giving it an A, actually. Let's put Devotion on A. It genuinely shook me a bit in a way that I really didn't expect to have happen, so big props there. And not just because the B section is too full. I think it deserves it. Layers of Fear. That's probably the horror game you were talking about that ended up being really disappointing. Later, Pluto. Let's do Surge 2 first, so I don't have to do that immediately. Surge 2, I tried fairly recently. I had only played a few hours of the original, so I didn't have the most well-rounded concept of this game in the series. You know, the short-running series of one game and an expansion pack and a sequel. But I will say, based on the bits I've played of the early first game, I found the beginning of the Surge 2 to be somewhat more compelling. I really enjoyed the level design. I thought the amount of, like, wrapping into itself and shortcuts that it did were very enjoyable to explore. I even had somebody else that was playing it said there may be too many shortcuts. I disagree. You can never have too many shortcuts, but they found themselves getting lost a bit because the levels, they go from being borderline linear to downright labyrinthian as you start to open up the paths. And I think that's really cool. I also really enjoy the combat mechanics to it. I think there's diversity that allows enough different types of builds that are all uniquely entertaining in their own right. Whether that be, you know, the fast-paced, daggery kind of presentation, or the big hammer, or the spear. They all kind of have their own movesets that feel individually good and impactful. And then the mix and match setup of cutting bits off of people and then assimilating them is pretty fun too. But that's just the Surge in general, not so much. The Surge in general. The Surgeon General's warning. So far as the bit I've played, and I'm told it's not a drastically long game, but that's also kind of a strength. I'm probably also okay putting this in the B category. No, you know what? It was pretty buggy, though. Like, it had some graphics problems and was a little bit on the jank side of things. I think barring some patches, it should probably go in C, but it's an optimistic probably B. Just to be fair. I think you do have to account for that a little. Could be, yeah. B for potential. No, it shouldn't go next to Borderlands. I think it actually should be in C. And C is not really much of a, like, a damnation. It's, or a, you know, it's not meant much as a derogatory. It's just above average or average. And in good company. Many of these are very good. I mean, as I said, all of these are good. There's really nothing on here that's just straight up terrible. Now, speak of the devil. Everything in C may as well have never been made. So, Bloober Team and I have a very odd relationship in that I always really look forward to their games and then always seem to find myself somewhat disappointed by them. They are great at doing atmosphere and then undermining it. I don't know what that's about. They have some incredible visual designers, but some really not great writers or something. There's something synthesis-wise that hasn't quite fit together in that team. Because they've really created some really wonderful areas, some environments that are captivating, but then ultimately they never feel like they pay off. So Layers of Fear was another example of that for me. Layers of Fear 2, I mean. As I've often said with the original, I kind of felt like the unreleased beta version of it, or preview demo or whatever we were calling it at the time, felt like a better curated version of the entire game. So when the actual game came out, it seemed like they just tacked on a bunch of bits that didn't really add anything impactful to it. It kind of felt like when you've seen a trailer for a movie, but they pack all the best bits in the trailer, so when you go to see the movie, you're just like, well, you just the trailer was just a curated version of the movie without everything without the interstitials to tie it together. So that's kind of how I felt about Layers of Fear 1. And then Layers of Fear 2 went in a totally different direction. And instead of being about a painter... What the hell was it about? There was a ship. It was about a movie, a playwright or something. It was about movies. It was about culture and movies, I think. Actor. Yeah. Oh, that's bad that I can't even... Crazy actor on a ship. I definitely remember the ship very well. I remember a lot of crouching and falling over ledges. And not much else. I think we were chased at one point. And it felt very laborious to play through. Like, I did not particularly care what was happening anymore. I just wanted to witness the visuals, I guess. I think for my own personal introspection, again, I'm sorry, but I really think this was actually enough for me. Yeah, the thriller that was on a ship that felt like BioShock. I think that was Close to the Sun? Was that what it's called? Let's see. I'll Google it real fast. I didn't finish it because that's when my... Yeah, Close to the Sun, that was it. That was when my computer started breaking. I think that might have been the last game I played before my computer broke, actually. No, I haven't played Blair Witch. Yeah, I actually quite liked Close to the Sun, or I was interested in it anyway. I don't know if I should say quite liked, but it was more notable than the somewhat ambiguous kind of endless corridors of Layers of Fear. Yeah, let's put that on there too. What was also Bluebird? Oh, yeah, Blair Witch was. I know, that's kind of why I wanted to play it, to see if they had any kind of a different approach to it. I think Lynn didn't particularly like it, but I haven't heard much. I didn't play Anthem at all. I have, like, no interest in Anthem. Did you play Nowhere Prophet? No, actually, I don't think so. Oh, it's a card game. Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't play that. I had to double check. Can Green Hell be put on the list? I didn't play the retail version of that yet. And I think in this case it matters because the finished version of that is supposed to be sort of a story-based experience. I think I'll probably like Green Hell when I do play it, but at the moment I still haven't played the finished version. There's a lot more to it. Yeah, and from what I did see of it when I did play it, it was probably one of the most robust simulation, quote-unquotes, of being in a rainforest scenario. I definitely do want to try it again, yeah. I had positive impressions of it when it was not done. Excuse me. Yeah, Metro Exodus was very early in the year. Close to the Sun was creepy and did remind me a lot of BioShock, but in the good ways, not in the frustrating ways. And when I say that, I mean the art direction and not the turrets. I'm playing games that came out in 2019 that I played. The games on the top are early access, so I can't really rank them yet. And Jen, that was the Morel's one that it's not even released yet. I think it comes out in like another week. Close to the Sun can go in the C category, I suppose. Good atmosphere, good creepiness. I should probably revisit that. I would like to see what the end was. Yeah, we'll keep adding to this. I'll leave this as a scene in my OBS and we can come back to it. So Vane was the one I just mentioned earlier. You play as a raven or a crow, flying over a desert and looking for shiny things. And in the process of that, you kind of stumble into a culture's mythology, which may be your culture. Not really sure, like you may have been turned into a crow. But then you go and turn into a child, and then you solve puzzles in caverns, and it's very, very pretty. I think this game got slept on a bit, and was worthy of more praise than it got. Close to the Sun is out on Epic Games Store. It might not be out on Steam yet. This is another one that's like between a C. I gotta give it a C on this one. Yeah, we might have to like move everything down a peg or something, rearrange. Overpass. This is the rhythm game by our friend Bean, where we spend the whole thing looking up and tapping along to the music. This is a very creative game. I really enjoyed the branching paths, like Star Fox kind of system to how the path gets worked out. I did have a bit of a struggle trying to see what I was supposed to be tapping, but that's kind of what the game is, so I can't really be mad at that. I just needed to play it more and, you know, get used to the timing of the songs individually. I'm drawn to between C and D for some reason, but no, I think it should just be C. And then if we split out some of these E's, D's, and C's, and then we kind of clear this out, maybe this will be one side or the other there. Blasphemous. I just very recently finished this on stream. I 100%ed it, in fact. This was the macabre Spanish Catholic ritualized commentary on religion with incredibly cool sprite work and just kind of a sprawling mini-map that, you know, slowly... It's a Metroidvania. I was very drawn to this game for a number of reasons. Number one, it's a Metroidvania. Number two, it's a really interesting like a lateral take on religion in a way that you never see in video games. Number three, you just play as a dude with a freaking cone on his head, which is overly reductive because he's actually the penitent one, and that is part of his suffering. I actually found the story, after we kind of dissected it a little bit post-stream, was really cool. It made a lot of sense, and it was tucked away in a way that it was there, but you kind of don't pay attention to it unless you're looking for it. So yeah, I was a big fan of Blasphemous. That being said, I do think there were a number of things it could have done better. I mean, as most games, I have criticism pretty much anything. There were some bugs, for sure, which I think they've already corrected a lot of the ones that I had problems with in my playthrough, because I went at it a little fast. One of them was, like, you get stuck on the insides of platforms sometimes. I also just disagreed with the decision to have some of your mobility options limited to 3 different choices when you have, like, 6 or 5 total. So sometimes if you fall into a pit, that would normally take you to the area under it. Other times you just forget and don't have the thing equipped, so you die. I also feel like maybe graphically, I think the majority of the game was gorgeous, but there were a couple of zones that seemed a little bit less so. I'm thinking of the jail cell area, which was just kind of very samey. I mean, it's a jail cell, yeah, but it lacked the atmosphere of even, like, the sewery kind of area. And then the furthest bottom left zone, which I don't remember what it was called, it had a lot of just, like, planks and fog. But it was just kind of not really noteworthy. It's just kind of there. That's how it is sometimes. But the game had clever loops and unlockable areas and stuff, so that was fun. I feel like I should give it an A. Probably an A. Well, I should have to mention again that I tend to play mostly just games I know I'm going to like, and I've self-selected for that, so it's gonna be that most of the games I play are gonna fall towards the top end of things. Yeah, Peach Ball's on there. Automa Chef, we just played fairly recently. So this one was the one where you're kind of designing paths for food to go down to be combined and processed based on a series of machines, and you have to consider a number of factors. It's like Big Pharma, but with food, is kind of the shorthand. I think it's a great concept that I might be a little too stupid to play. I really did enjoy playing it, but also felt like if I'm not at the top of my thinking that day, I'm going to have a bad time. But that's not the game's fault. You know, the game aspires to great things. I just personally found it to go a little bit over my head. And I even understood what I was trying to do, but I think some of the minutiae on how I'd do it, maybe I just needed more time to figure it out or something. Be interested in seeing you playing the new ukulele game? I still never played the original. Automa Chef is a C, I think? It's a definite recommendation if you know you're gonna like the concept. Like, if you're into the logistics side of things, like with Wilmot's Warehouse, and you really like doing programming, it's very satisfying once you get the loop right, because you basically just hit play and then everything kind of plays out for you. Reminds me a little bit of the one where you design circuitry, or really any of his games, to be honest. Oh, thank you very much, Lumpy700. Thank you for the 19 months. Yeah, the Zachtronics games, that's what I mean. I didn't play Cadence of Hyrule, actually. I still would like to, though. Yeah, this is only just stuff that I've actually played during the course of the year. I wish I was a whole review outlet and I had, like, 5 staff members to have these discussions with. That would be fantastically fun. Yeah, no, I just happened to be playing the Cadence of Hyrule soundtrack because I know it's got good music, but I didn't play it. So Hypnospace Outlaw was a very well-realized parody of early to mid-90s internet reference and culture, with a sort of, I don't know, what do you call it, like dystopic is dystopic even a word? I think I've asked that before. You play as a censor. Yeah, dystopian. Oh yeah, and it has some really great music. It's just very creative and different and doesn't really give a shit what genres are. You gotta give them points for just going their own way. People use it, but it's not in the dictionary? Okay, that's probably why I said it then. It's a very specific experience that probably isn't for everybody. But for those that get the references and existed in that time in their life, I mean, obviously, there's not a lot of reasons to be nostalgic for bad internet. But they found a way to frame it that's pleasant and kind of makes you feel okay about the whole thing. I didn't really get to the point where I understood what the overall, like, overarching story to the whole thing was, though. And that seems like it might have been important. I think I should give it a B. For being original. Yeah, Broken Reality was the 80s style, like, new wavy kind of going through the internet instead of the one where we're looking at websites. Oh, it's the windmill theme? Oh, it's so good. Now, Super Mario Maker 2. I have a bit of a controversial opinion about Super Mario Maker. I love the concept, but feel like it doesn't deliver what I personally want out of it. And I kind of still feel like number 2 is vaguely what number 1 should have been. And we're still a bit light on content. I know that sounds bizarre because it's like there's infinite content. You just play people's levels forever. But since we're relying on mostly non-curated user-made content, it kind of means that the vast majority of things you do in it are gonna be bad. So then you're down to whatever rises to the top. Okay, cool. And also there's a single-player campaign, which is okay, I guess. It doesn't really have a lot going on in it, in my opinion. Has some unlockables, I guess, so that's nice. And then beyond that, whatever enjoyment you gain from editing in itself. And for me, the editing in itself, like the very fact of it having a robust level editor, that is the content for me. I enjoy just laying out ideas and playing with them and seeing what comes of it. I like that it's just sort of a toolkit to doodle with. That being said, I find the UI for the level editor is surprisingly unintuitive and frustrating to use for long periods of time. I also find that it's got plenty of content, but it's also lacking in content in certain areas. Like, it's all well and good that there's all these, like, hidden interactions of, okay, well, you can, like, drag this mushroom onto this thing and it gets big, or this thing flies. Like, that's all nice, but that's not really that big of a deal. It's more just novelty stuff. You don't have the ability to just straight up edit the levels when it comes to cosmetics at all. The game just decides where to put things. If you want to have a background bit of grass, the only way to make that happen where you want it is to infinitely erase and replace the tiles. And I guess that's because they don't want people drawing with grass, and I don't know what they don't want people to do. It's Nintendo. They just make weird decisions. So, like, it's cool that they made slopes in this one, I guess. And it's cool that there's a few different tool kits of, like, different eras to play with. It still bugs me, though, that they don't have linked levels yet. Or ever, maybe. Because the idea of making a series of levels where getting coins and one-ups matters, it's just like an entirely different game than playing one-off levels. And it doesn't feel like a transformative sequel to me, beyond it's on the Switch and there's some minor little details they added. So on one hand, I really appreciate that Mario Maker exists. It's probably introducing level editing to hundreds and thousands of new people that would never have thought to even try it. On the other hand, as somebody who's done this before in different venues, I find it lacking. Certainly not an F, no. But I think controversially, it is actually going to be a D for me. And you may find that a bit too harsh. But for the price of it and how much gameplay I got out of it, combined with the fact that it's going to be like a... I don't know, multiplayer is not really an option most of the time because their internet, their networking sucks ass. I don't know, it just felt bad a lot of the time when I was playing it. I found myself very frustrated with it a lot of the time. All the things I kept wanting to make, I was like, how do you... Oh, you can't do that. I just kept running into dead ends. And obviously... these aren't the same dead ends that everybody is finding, because a lot of the really creative people doing this stuff, if you really know the Mario blocks inside and out and you know the interactions really well, you can create some amazing stuff. I mean, I love those insane automated levels where it's like playing music and somebody made a Tetris level. All kinds of crazy novelty stuff like that. But I'm not there. So give me the tools to make stuff without having to know 70 steps of Kaizo Mario background knowledge. So it's weird, right? Because it's like very robust and also limited at the same time. Yeah, I don't know. That's me, though. I fully agree that I'm probably in the vast minority of people who feel that way about it. I don't regret purchasing it at all. It's really cool to have that on my Switch for any point I just boot it up and mess around. But I wish it had more single-player content or more to do that wasn't what it is. Like, okay, I'm running into a wall here how to describe this. Like, what if they just gave you puzzle levels that you had to edit within? That would have been super fun. You know, here's what you get, 5 parts. Solve this level with the parts you're given. And then they could edit or integrate the editing and the gameplay together to kind of bridge the gap between the two. And slowly they could use that to teach you concepts. Oh, wait, do they actually do that? They might actually do that. I thought of that, but then I also may have just remembered that I did that. It's okay. I don't mean to get into like a big back and forth about this one, because this is one of those ones where I fully agree that probably most of you don't agree, and that's fine, because it's just my opinion. That's not a thing? They gave you the parts to make it easier, but you never needed them. Okay. It's a mechanic like you do if you die too much in the campaign. Oh, you know what else was really weird? I tried to create 1-1 from Super Mario Brothers, and you can't do it perfectly. So, like, the part where, you know, where you go in the pipe and it takes you to the underground... Like, yeah, you can actually create one sub-level now. So that's cool. Because you couldn't do that in the first one, even though that's, like, one of the most central Mario gameplay concepts. You can't make it so you just fall out of the sky. Like, you can't restrict the camera movement there. So you can kind of always see that you fell out of a pipe. I think I found some way to make it kind of, like, masked. But there's, like, it's kind of a weird offset with how the pipe has to sit. And then you can always go back into the pipe that you came out of. So there's no, like, one-way pipe. It's a really, really minor thing, but it's just like, come on, guys, it's the most iconic level, and you don't have the tool set to let us create exactly the same as was in the first Mario. I didn't think that that would even be controversial, you know? My only gripe was that my levels were too hard for myself to beat. There is a one-way barrier, at least. There is, and yeah, I guess theoretically I could, but I wanted it to be the way you do it in actual Mario, which is there isn't one. You just set the pipe as a one-way. And I think what they probably decided to do was just rather than have things just kind of be fiddly like they were in the old Mario games, everything has a visual language now. If there is an aspect of your level that causes you to do a thing, it's always pictorially represented the same way for every single instance. So there's no ambiguity, there's no getting confused. If it's one way, you go through that weird block thing. Which I just think clutters up the levels and just looks awful, but whatever. Yeah, advanced settings, please. That's what I wanted. I felt like it would be oddly kind of dismissive not to include things like that, because, like I said, you should be able to recreate the levels in Mario. And I mean, down to literally every detail. You shouldn't have to compromise on anything, but whatever. I'm overanalyzing it. Like, really overanalyzing it. Yeah, and same, like, going from Little Big Planet for years to Mario Maker feels very limiting. And I'm not saying Little Big Planet had the best platforming controls either or anything, but it did have a vastly superior editor, like, to everything. The editor was the game, in that case. And the scenery being random is stupid. Okay, I need to stop talking about this now. Were there any other games you wanted me to add to the list that I have played? I think we got everything right. Okay, see you later, UDev. Oh yeah, I could just separate them out, couldn't I? Did I just hear Automatones in Cadence of Hyrule? Oh, you very likely did, because Michaela actually did some Automatone for this. That probably was her just then. That lady we raided the other day. Alright, well, we can do this very quickly then. Egg is broken, heart is too. Sure. It's too long. It was frustrating, kind of funny. I don't know, E? Is E okay for that? It's like right around the same level as Rage 2. Oh, it had periods. Fair enough. We'll add the periods in. Yeah, it did have a funny end bit to it. I like that. It was fun. Demon's Tilt is a really good pinball game, and like much better than Peach Ball, and also badass looking graphically. I think Demon's Tilt is probably... I'd say it's a B. Noita is like A plus S minus. Nova Drift is probably also like a B plus. Risk of Rain I didn't really play enough to know, but somewhere in here, C plus, B minus kind of thing. I'll call it C for now because I need to play more of it. And Mirador was like not that great, but still being worked on. Yeah, I think that's where we go. Oh yeah, I want to. I'll look at Nova Drift more. Got them all now? Risk of Rain 2 is honestly high A for me. Wow. This is for how much I enjoyed them. Which is, generally speaking, both of those qualifications, because, well, there is no objective how good a game is, really. So things that still haven't come out yet. We've got, Wait, Red Dead Redemption was last year, right? But the PC version is going to come out in November, so I guess that kind of warrants another look. Oh yeah, Hello's Other Demons. That's, that deserves to be there, sure. I quite like that game. It was a little hard to see sometimes. So if I remember, it was like a combo of like Downwell plus Super Crate Box, and it was like a lo-fi presentation, but the action levels were kind of limited to one area at a time. Actually, I think D is probably fair. It's a hearty D, though. It's like, I still kind of recommend this, there's just not a ton of content. So I think once you get down into here, things start to get a little dicey sometimes. There's different reasons to put things in this category. So now we've got Death Stranding coming up, which I'm going to do probably a full playthrough on the stream. Very excited to check that out. Hey, Mindstepper, how's it going? Am I gonna play Pokemon? Probably not. I don't think I'll have time. Which one was Hallucinod? I did play Magic Arena, yeah. Quite liked it. Well, I liked it once they added the custom match feature, because it was a little frustrating that you couldn't match your friends for a while. Oh yeah, Hallucinod was the gravity puzzle room kind of game. Yeah, that should be on there, actually. That was quite good. Oop. Some names are just, you can't grab onto them. They don't give you much. I thought it still managed to be quite clever, even though it seemed like it was going to be something we've seen so many times. It just kind of wasn't. It was actually quite new. So that's a C for me. Now, Marble Game was last year. Thanks very much. It's Chester. You made it to 3 freaking years. Enjoy your new badge. I could probably nitpick and find a couple more games. Although a lot of the things I keep thinking are this year were last year. Slime Rancher, that was a while ago. Crazy Gadgeteer, thank you very much for your subscription as well. Your 11 months. What is this? Mist Over. Strategy anime. Oh, Deliver Us the Moon came out? I didn't look on Steam today. Yeah, I thought this looked kind of cool, actually. Not really sure exactly what it's about, but it seems to be a space thriller. I like that it's a bit vague. I was surprised that Doom Eternal got pushed back to next year. I thought they were rounding near finished on that one. But, I mean, good on them. If they need to push it back, then do so. Better than releasing it not finished. If that's the case. I was just surprised, though. I didn't think that was the case, though. Valfaris. Oh, yeah, I got a code for that. I'll check it out. How do we feel about Spyro Reignited? I'm probably also going to play that at least a little bit, since I know I'm getting it with the Humble Bundle next month. I was planning on getting it anyway, but since it's going to be $12 and I get freaking the Crash trilogy and that, and also another copy of Call of Duty, it's like not a bad price for that. It was a small storage managing indie. That was Wilmot's Warehouse. I've heard good things about the Spyro Reignited one. From what I've seen, at least, the visuals look really nice. I don't know much about the actual gameplay of it, although I've watched a speedrun of the game, but that doesn't always inform you as to the gameplay much. What was the game that you are a bus, but it's a snake? I believe that was Snaky Bus. I didn't put that on the list because it seems more like a... what do you call it? Kind of like a game jam kind of thing, more than an actual full-fledged game. It was fun, though, I agree. Should I put it on the list? I can. I'm just super sad that I didn't play Planet Zoo in time. What about the Solitaire game? I'm pretty sure that's like over a year old. Do you think you'll play Celeste Chapter 9? Only if I'm in the mood to be a masochist. It looked kind of frustrating to me. I'm not feeling it at the moment, but I do occasionally get bouts of like, let's play a really hard platformer. What was the... what was that freaking Microsoft exclusive... I think it had an O. Project Overdrive, Sunset Overdrive. Did I ever get that? Oh yeah, we got Bumbo coming out next month too. Sunset... No, I don't think I ever got that. I don't know why that just jumped into my head, but... I guess I had it that I was like... Did that ever just get included with a bundle? Seems like one of the kind of games you just get in a bundle. Taco Apocalypse. We drive a taco truck around the end of the world. I think that's a game that I got years ago. There's so many arpeggios in the soundtrack. I also got a copy of Trine 4 that I was hoping to play with Rob or something, but I haven't heard back from him. Oh yeah, and I got a copy of Pine. I got so many freaking games to play. And yet, here I am, ranking them instead. I don't want to ask it. Oh, what? What would I rate it? What would I rate? Crash or Spyro or... Oh, Destiny. Yeah, I played it just a little bit when it originally had come out. I don't know why. I guess I didn't really find it super compelling. I didn't really stick with it at all. And then it got a lot of updates and stuff, so it's probably one of those ones that if it weren't for Borderlands, I could probably see myself going back to. Just to see even how much it changed or what's going on with it now, because it seems like people are into it now. Destiny 2 had probably the best skyboxes that I've ever seen. So that's the one thing that they definitely excelled at. I sort of resented, though, that I paid full price for it, and then it, like, immediately went on sale, and now it's free. But that's my own fault for buying it full price, so I can't really blame anyone but myself. Yeah, it's okay. Oh, yeah, I bet they are glad. Yeah, I'm just bummed out about Blizzard right now. I mean, like, a week ago I was going, am I gonna pay $50 for 2 Overwatch skins? For the BlizzCon e-tickets. Because I'm fucked in the head, apparently, and I really need a skin for Genji and Symmetra. I think I've gone full-on, like, gambler fallacy, and I'm just, like, gonna buy all the skins now, which is what they want. But I actually haven't started up the game since that day, and I feel shitty about it. I really hope that May becomes a symbol of Hong Kong resistance, and that would be really neat. What would be really nice is if they embrace it, apologize, redact their original statement, reinstate the prize, rehire the 2 people that were fired, unban the Hearthstone player, and then also give May a Hong Kong Resistance skin that we can all wear in solidarity. While we're dreaming, I would like a pony. Would that do anything for you guys if they did all of those things? Would that get you to change your mind or at least listen? Yeah, no pony, but all the other things. Delete May from... No! No, fuck Blizzard. That's fine. I feel like, on one hand, it's obviously a terrible decision that they made that was really stupid. And they should definitely pay a price for it. But I also have to acknowledge there are people that work there that absolutely are horrified that that's a thing that happened. That didn't have any control over the situation. I read this morning, actually, there was a walkout on their campus because of it. So, yeah, it's not like this has gone unheard. It's possible that maybe they really underestimated what kind of bad PR it would get them, or maybe they thought nobody would care or notice. So, yeah, I don't know. I definitely am sympathetic to the employees as well. As with any big publisher or developer, you're going to run into higher-ups making terrible decisions that have nothing to do with the people that mostly work there. So that's why I'm a little bit hedging in that I would have my ears open to listen in case something changes. Yeah, devs definitely should unionize. It's still a somewhat fluid situation. At least it feels like it is. Maybe it's not on their end, but it feels like it might change. Or something might develop still. Yeah, you're that pessimistic about it? I feel like it's like a coin flip right now. I guess it really is just a value judgment about how much they care about the money versus the PR, which is really stupid, and capitalism sucks that it puts people in those positions, because that's a really ugly decision to have to make. It should be an easy decision, but it's still an ugly one to have to make. What I've heard is they've posted on Weibo about commitment to protecting China's dignity. Oh. Really? Okay. That's something I hadn't heard yet. Alright, well, if that's the case, then maybe you're probably right to be as skeptical as you are then. If there are two legal decisions and one makes more money for you, the one that makes more money for you is objectively more ethical. What? Wow, what a statement. Oh, goodness. Well, I probably don't need to go on a rant about my opinions on capitalism, but yeah, you probably already know how I feel. No, I hear you, Metzel. It's just, that's a wild thing. We're in a really weird place right now, like, in every facet of... Well, I should say we as in America is in a really weird place, but we're all kind of collectively in a really weird place. The thing that happened yesterday, or day before yesterday, the thing with Syria was just fucking mind-blowing. I was, like, lost for words when I heard that. Even still, It is. It's really, really fucked. I don't actually want to get into a long political discussion, even though I'm sounding like I'm about to. So I'm not going to. And I'm going to hope that I can hopefully have that conversation with Rob on movie night, post the movie. But yeah, I have been very stressed about the whole situation, and I know lots of people are. And I have the fortune to only be stressed about it when other people are going to literally die. Yeah, I saw that too. I've seen all the articles. I've been just sitting watching news a lot. It's not good for my mental health, but I also don't really want to do a lot else. I'm just like, I'm watching it because I just can't get over the spectacle of how insane it all is, and just, I keep hoping, like, this can't actually be going down this far. There's gotta be a bottom. And it never feels like there's a bottom. Thanks very much, Impetus12, for the 40 months. It's also the speed with which news is happening right now is basically, it's never been like this before, as far as I can tell. The amount of, like, whiplash you can get following these stories. It's 1 hour to the next, they completely change or develop, or there's a new story or new scandal. So it's really weird. So I've just been sitting obsessing over a lot of that stuff. Just hoping something's gonna get better soon. Or at least reach a boiling point. Have you heard the notion of hyperrealism? Not in that context, no. I'll have to look into that. There were like 3 days where when the Democrats started acting like things were going to start to be, things were coming to account for a very short period of time before we got into the weeds again on court cases, I almost felt like less stressed out. So I've put way too much of my own personal identity in where this is going, but I just can't abide the level of corruption that's happened. Google's upcoming console will have negative latency? I don't know even what that means. What is negative latency? Predictive... Oh, is it just one of those tech buzzwords? Oh, okay. I thought it was in reference to an actual thing, but it sounds like maybe it's just one of those marketing terms. That's stupid. If that's what it is anyway. Google thinks AI will solve all their problems. Yeah, it's going to solve every problem we have in the entire world. What else was I going to... I had something else to say. Oh yeah, just when I was watching back some of those debates, not even debates, but the hearings of things, like, when the Republicans go off on the projection, they'll just start saying exactly the things they're being accused of back to muddy the waters. I feel like one of the Dems just needs to, like, fucking fly across the room at this point, because I can't listen to them anymore. When they just, like, open up their hellhole of lying dog shit and just spew it into the room. And we just have to pretend that this is somehow ordinary process because all opinions are equal. No, you're lying, and the other person is trying to uphold the law. So Devin Nunes was the one, I think, at the time. Oh, God. And then you hear Adam Schiff at the end after he goes on for 10 minutes of just making up shit. And then he just talks like nothing happened. And we're just supposed to allow that to exist in the air as if it's normal. Hyper-normalization? Oh, okay. Well, that I can kind of follow intuitively what I think it might mean. It's kind of the idea that all things are equal, which can kind of destroy all semblance of reality. I mean, he basically just... Oh god, I'm doing it. I said I was not gonna, and then I went and... I swear I didn't mean to. I swear I didn't mean to. I really was gonna not do it. I wasn't just saying I'm not gonna do it, and then I was gonna do it anyway. I was gonna actually stop myself. No, you're not. You're fine. I was just gonna not talk about political stuff, and then immediately did it right after I said I wasn't going to, because I don't know. I hypnotized myself. Yeah, I guess I gotta vent sometimes. It's okay. What would you guys think about if I did a long stream again sometime soon? Like, make an event kind of stream up and do like a big ol' menu of stuff? Oh. Nutsy said lots of things. I'm saying to your thing, show one more time. Yeah, no, it's okay, Nutsy. I just kind of can't anymore. I've kind of burned bridges with the people on the show now, so... I don't think they really want me in. Ryan would probably maybe make it kind of try to work, but it's just too awkward now. So I don't really want to push it anymore. I kind of need to get to the point, or I'm getting to the point where I need to just kind of let the past be the past and move on. As unfortunate as that is. I would love to have people to play games with again sometimes, but it didn't really work out. It's okay, Nutsy. Oh. My stream shouldn't compete with med school. That's quite alright. Don't worry about it. What's with the Twitch team? I need to dissolve it, but I didn't want to start drama by accident by doing anything with it. So I've just been scared to touch it, honestly. I didn't want to make people think I was making a statement or cause people to then start Reddit threads. No, I don't need to be more assertive. I tried being more assertive in private, and it didn't end well. You could always pivot to a thought streamer. Just kind of like free association. Just kind of chat about what I'm thinking about. That could be fun. I would want to have like a list of prepared ideas maybe, but I could do that kind of thing. Give me like 5 topics. I could probably go for a while that way. Topic 1, entropy. What about entropy, though? See, the thing about entropy is it's always changing. We could watch Vsauce videos on stream. I don't think I can do that, actually. It makes me shit. Oh, it's like... Okay, so I'd be doing freelance idea association. For every $5 I talk for a half an hour about your idea. That could be very difficult if the idea does not lend itself to it. What if I dress up in strange clothes and wear a mask and eat cured meat? Are Hot Pockets sauceless ravioli? Some of them have sauce in them. Oh, they have sauce in them, but not on them. I had one of the Hot Pockets sandwiches, not the... Okay, they're all sandwiches, aren't they? The traditional bread sandwich. I think they're called Devour. Hot Pockets aren't sandwiches. They're pockets, I guess, but pockets are kind of sandwiches. It was turkey, bacon, ranch, something. It was actually really good. Just kind of bought it on a lark just to see what it would taste like. It did have maybe a little more ranch than I would like. It was a little strong. But it's a nice combo. Sandwiches require the filling to be sandwiched between 2 things. Okay, but that is what a Hot Pocket is. If you just cut the sides on a Hot Pocket, it would just be a sandwich. Oh, you're counting the object as one continuous object? Well, if we were living in 4 dimensions, it could be more than one object. Ooh, Breath of the Wild music. Is a donut a sandwich? No. A donut can be a pastry, though. Is that why people get angry if someone claims a hot dog is a sandwich? Well, a hot dog is like a taco. I guess we need to, like, break down the different classifications of meat holsters. You know, you can have a completely ensconced filling. You can have part of it be open. You can have all the sides be open. You can have it be 2 pieces of something. Why do we have to categorize sandwiches so articulately, though, like, with such granularity? You've never needed in a conversation to be able to quantify a sandwich at that level. What about a calzone? Yeah, calzone is actually very similar to a Hot Pocket, but well, I guess the fillings can vary as well. It's a mega ravioli. Let's see if I've seen this sandwich chart. Yes, I have seen this, but a long time ago. Let's see, what's my favorite sandwich on this chart? Well, my favorite is the BLT, but I kind of don't mind any of these. I feel like saying hot dog is a sandwich does feel wrong, but I also don't care that much. If someone said it was a sandwich, I just think in my head like, all right, whatever. Structural purist, ingredient neutral. I've never had a Chip Buddy. I kept trying to get one when I was in Ireland, and we kept eating real food instead. And one time I was going to put my foot down, and then we had like an actual meal again, and I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm just not going to have one. I just wanted to taste it, really, just to know. I don't know what I needed to know about it. I know what freaking fries taste like, but I guess I wanted to just have the experience and go, okay, I can tick this off. Someone has handed me this product that is known by this label. I have partaken of it. An unholy mass of carbs. I kind of want it, though. I really shouldn't want it. I really kind of do. It's so meh. I just figured if people just continue to eat them, then there must be a reason for it. Like, if they're that meh, then just stop eating them. Don't people put butter on some of them, too? Like, butter and French fries? That's kind of weird. Oh, is it good? Huh. Well, yeah, I'm calling them French fries as a like a higher level categorization. I know that they're thick cut. I'm calling them that because that refers to the platonic ideal of, you know, potato shape fried in oil. You ever had the crinkle fries? Not the ones that look like waffle. Well, those are waffle fries. I think they're just called crinkle cut, aren't they? They go like big, small, big, small. Well, then there's also the springy ones are something else. Yeah, curly fries, that's even another one. Curly fries are great. And sometimes you get that mega curly fry that's like 1,000,000 miles long. And then you're like, I don't want to break this, but I will. But if you get the curly fry, or the crinkle cut fries, just at the right bakedness, they have a very nice, like a crisp outer layer and then a nice smooth inner layer. And that's just, You also don't run into a lot of soggy ones of those for some reason. And curly fries are really good for ingredient scooping. If you're into like a honey mustard or something, you could go to town on that. We can talk about hash browns. What do you want to bring up? Hash browns are great. I generally like all of them. I just don't like when I order them at Dunkin' Donuts and they cost like $3 and they give you these tiny little croquettes that are, and there's like 5 of them. They're a bad value, but I want them sometimes anyway. You're at Mickey D's or The King, getting a burger meal menu, a soda on one side, fries, onion rings, chicken nuggets, or chili cheese dippers, all with hypothetically endless dip. Well, if I'm going to Burger King, my ideal setup is to have onion rings with zesty sauce. The zesty sauce itself actually justifies the purchase of the onion rings. And honestly, you can dip the fries in them too, but I don't usually. I prefer the onion rings. There's something so zesty about it. It's just a... It's got this, like, low-level punch that adds up over time. I've tried to get it from them too. They don't give it out easily. You have to order the right thing for them to give it to you, or they're like, nope, you can't have it. So zesty. What you can maybe do is if you can, like, trick people that are ordering onion rings into getting zesty sauce if they don't know about it, maybe they'll give it to you. Because they don't even know what they're missing, so you just kind of, like, just push them out and just take their zesty sauce. I mean, you don't physically push them, but you box them out of the concept. You say, these are going to be my zesty sauces, but you can enjoy your onion rings. And I'll dip whatever I've got going on. What is this? Sounds like we're listening to fucking Peter Pan right now. That's still Breath of the Wild. I guess it's not that far off. X once gave it to me, but I didn't know what to do with it, so I gave it back. Yeah, we are in Italy right now, I agree. Rito Village? Is that when Twitch doesn't get what they want and they Rito? Yeah, so my better Twitch TV emotes don't seem to be working. I need to fix that. I don't know, maybe you can see them, but I don't have any on my end. Oh yeah, I didn't do a schedule this week. I apologize. I wasn't sure how often I'd stream right now. No, I have played Breath of the Wild, I just didn't stream it. I am using the new dashboard, yeah. Oh, what is that icon? Deceit? Dylan, are you a deceitful person? Is that what it's telling me? Oh no, I vaguely remember this game, actually. I think I played it once. Maybe just one time. Wait, was this Pumpkin Scrubs? This might have been Pumpkin Scrubs, actually. It was? Have you considered IRL streams, just chilling with chat? Yeah, you want that? That is actually a kind of terrifying one. Why is RDR between the, or below the list? Because it's coming out on PC, and I put it there. That's it. It can probably not be on the list, I don't know. I need a whiteboard, but instead of writing sub-names, you draw game concepts. What if I make... What if I write sub-names, though? Yeah, Rockstar's... Rockstar? I guess I just named their store for them. Rockstar has had a store, we just never really used it for anything. I didn't even mean to do that. I also wanted to make a dispenser for you all. So when people subscribe, it gives you, you know, those little capsule dispensers? When people subscribe, it'll pop out of the side of the screen and dispense something. And then you'll see what it was, but then you can go to the website to see more, right? And then you can go see how many you've collected in the dispenser. And that's what that little guy was that I tweeted. It's one of my friends that I made. But yeah, we could make rolling animals for it too. Is that inspired from the capsule game? Maybe vaguely, yeah. I don't think I directly correlated it, but I could see that it might have subconsciously influenced me. Oh, it doesn't make you a boomer for not playing so many. Out of this, all of this that I've played, all these ones on this list, there's still probably another 100 that I haven't. So, you know, you play what you like. You only have so much time. Yeah, if you want to hear the description of how I justified my decisions, just go back in the VOD, because I went for a very long time on some games, and other games not as much. What's with the math tweet? I was watching this video trying to understand fourth dimension shapes, and it was like, do all this math, and I was like, no. And then I just tweeted, I was like, I don't know how to do any math anymore. Here's a picture of it. But yeah, I was just trying to learn a bit about dimensions. I go off on tangents about quantum physics and nonsense sometimes. Yeah, I have heard of Short Hike. I should probably check it out. There's a Shrek mod for Code Vein. Oh, now you're speaking my language. Yeah, that sounds good. How did they... So they described it as if there's a two-dimensional plane, right, and there's, like, flatlanders, like people that only live in 2 dimensions, and then you try to enter their 2-dimensional world to show them, to say hi, as a 3-dimensional being, they would only see slices of you, right? So if you reached your hand into the world, they would see like a core ring of each one of your fingers, because that's all they'd be able to perceive of it. So then we take that concept and we raise it up another level, and it gets harder to understand. I have seen 4D toys, yeah. I really should play that. And yeah, I've heard of that novella before, but I haven't actually read it. Oh wow, it's actually legit too. Is this... I can't tell if this is the same model they used from Goat Sim or not. The hands look all fucking weird. I kind of like it, because it's so janky. His face looks weird too. It looks a little like Winnie the Pooh. Oh, this is very cool. I wonder how hard it is to install. Oh, the mesh has big ol' holes in it too. Like his neck doesn't quite match up where his vest is. Maybe the jankier it is, the better, to be honest. Uses this model. Well, see, the problem is I don't know which model the Goat Sim model is. It looks just like this, though, so it might be that one. The first comment, ass. Oh yeah, I'm using this in my racing game. Does anyone know if there's a nude Shrek model out there? I should reply, yeah, I know where there's one, but it's not a canon one. Thank you very much, Dane Hull, for using your Twitch Prime subscription here. Big thank you for the support and for being here in general. Every game should have a Shrek skin. And / mod. Like, I would go through Alien Isolation if we could just mod Shrek in as the alien. Like, is there even a way to replace Mr. X as Shrek? And then instead of X gonna give it to you, it's All-Star? I mean, I know people have made a video of that already, but I don't know that they've actually modded it into the game. If they made a Shrek skin for May in Overwatch, would Blizzard be forgiven? No. No, that's just blatant manipulation of my feelings. I have to recognize that. Yeah, the Steam library doesn't let you sort things by release date, which is a big drag. I would also like to have them sort it by genre sometimes, or at least by tag, and you can't do that either. But they are doing another rework, so maybe it'll be in the next one. SCP, I heard that was not actually the case, that it was like a misunderstanding or not true. I'm not sure which. So as far as I know, you can delete your account if you want. And my apologies if I led anybody to believe the wrong thing there. The beta lets you search by genre and tags. Oh, great. Can you not release date? Okay, never mind. That's what I was just about to ask. Well, tags and genres that's a helpful thing to have, but release date would actually still be better than all of them. If I could just have it list all games in descending release date from current, that's probably how I would find things, most likely. Because I can't always remember the name of something, but I remember roughly when I saw it. This is only a problem once you've got 3,000 games, though. Well, maybe only then. Man, it's weird having my OBS be my whole screen. I'm not used to that. Well, I have lost most of my momentum, so I think I will send you over to Sinnoh to watch We Are Here Together. It's like a puzzle game where you talk to a co-op partner with a walkie-talkie and you have to do escape the room puzzles. I always wanted to play this, actually, so I'd be interested in seeing. Anything planned for tomorrow? Yeah, I'll probably come back on tomorrow. I want to catch Lynn tonight before she hits the sack, because she's... Well, I don't need to say what she's doing, but she's got stuff going on most of the time, so I only have a few hours to talk to her. But yeah, I'll probably be on tomorrow. I should tackle some new game, or do something. Got so many options, and I think I have a bit of option paralysis right now. Huh? Apologies for inserting myself in your... No, you didn't do anything wrong. You're fine. Everybody's fine. Well, all I can say is, if you want to catch when I go live, follow me on Twitter and here. I think there's also a bell now, or maybe there has been a bell for ages and I just forgot about it. But if you want notifications on Twitch, you know, look for that kind of thing. Honestly, you do what you need to do for yourself, but I'm just saying if you want to get those, that might be how. Oh yeah, there's the Discord. I got one of those too. Yeah, feel free to talk in the Discord. I pop by every so often. I check it like once a day, but I don't always write on it. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of your night. I hope you had fun sorting games out with me. I can't believe I did that for 3 hours. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.